Thank you. All right, hello everyone. My name is JT Siskowski, reporting for Status Coup in partnership with the MeidasTouch network. I'm going to thank MeidasTouch for their partnership in the work that we are doing out here. That have been helping lift up and support the on-the-ground reporting that we do here. And a lot of what we do, reaching the audiences that we do, would not be possible without their support. If you're unfamiliar with what we do here at Status Coup, we believe in the importance of on-the-ground journalism, lifting up the voices of, especially of people-powered movements. But maybe before I get too deep into that, I should give you a little bit of the lay of the land as to where we are right now. Behind me is the Whipple Federal Building. It is just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And these protesters that you see behind me are here to protest ICE's presence and the other federal immigration agents' presence in their communities. They have been out protesting here in some cases for hours. We'll be hearing from some of those protesters in just a moment. But for now, what I want to tell you is a little bit of what has happened here today. The reason we are here, we were supposed to be reporting we were supposed to be going live for you originally about half an hour ago from a memorial service that was happening here in Minneapolis. Those plans changed, however, because a Border Patrol convoy led by Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino, who's been leading many of the Trump administration's worst crackdowns across the country. If you're familiar with our 2 months of coverage on the ground in Chicago, or the time that we spent on the ground in Charlotte, North Carolina, you'll be very familiar with Greg Bavino. His convoy was out raiding places in St. Paul, and we were following, we were documenting what was happening there, and it ended up that we spent so much time with him that we ended up having to bump back and cancel our original planned recording. But as soon as that convoy of Border Patrol agents arrived back here at the Whipple Federal Building, we had gotten word that the officers inside, or the agents rather, excuse me, for the federal government, who have been out here standing off against these protesters, really trying to project power, project a sense of toughness from the Trump administration out here, a real show of force. They had been using that force here on the crowd. We came out here initially because we had heard that the agents had been deploying pepper spray. But as I've learned here, talking to some of the people who have been out here for hours, we've learned it was not just a single deployment of pepper spray against this crowd. Those agents have been coming back and forth, in and out of here, continuously confronting this crowd. So we wanted to go live out here and also hear from some of these people who were not only pepper sprayed but also tear gassed by the Trump administration for exercising their First Amendment rights, for having the temerity to stand up and say that they do not want ICE agents in their community. Flynn, if I could bring you in right now. One of these demonstrators, this is Flynn. Flynn, if I could have you start for me, just spell your name.
Flynn.
And Flynn, start just by giving us the lay of the land. When did you get here? How's the scene developed across the day?
I want to say that I got here about noon-ish.
So more than 3 hours you've been out here protesting.
Yeah. I plan on being here, one of the last people to leave tonight. I'm probably going to get some food and come back. But it was relatively calm when we got here. Like you said, they've been kind of coming in and out and kind of trying to push us back further, trying to keep us out of the street. But I'd say we're doing a pretty good job at, like, clearing a lane for the traffic and not doing any kind of impeding of anything.
I just want to back up what Flynn is saying there, just even in the time that we've been here. The crowd does move when there's traffic on the road, or even where we're standing now is an access point to a tennis facility here, and the crowd does separate to move for traffic.
Yeah. But it only really gets rowdy when they come out and start coming at us.
Is there any sort of rhyme or reason to when or why they've been coming out?
Not that I've noticed. Like I said, it's just kind of, I haven't been paying attention to the timing at all, but it could be every, like, half hour, 45 minutes they come in and out. They have been standing somewhat far back. It looks like someone is coming out right now, but I'm not sure. It looks like just one. But, yeah, it just seems relatively random, but they are coming out in full force.
Relatively random, but what have you experienced here in that time when they do come out?
Yeah, for the most part,
So I just want to call out what we're seeing right now is some of those immigration enforcement agents leaving the Whipple Federal Building in a vehicle right now, and that's what gets the animated response from the crowd. I'll note that there is a Hennepin County Sheriff's deputy is actually out here as well. But you see the crowd now kind of gathering closer to the vehicle to be able to make their voices heard against the agents here as they move past. So that's what you'll see is this pattern of the protests kind of lull, and then as these agents come and go, as they go out to conduct or come back from conducting these raids in the Twin Cities area, that prompts the larger reaction here from the crowd. And you see one of those protesters right now standing in front of the vehicle. The sheriff's deputy is now walking away. He had originally seemed like instructing the crowd to move back, had now walked away. You got the protesters directly standing and barely touching the vehicle. And there you go. Federal police there coming out and physically pushing the protesters back from away from the vehicle. And these officers here are labeled as DHS police. You'll see a mix of these agencies and these officers out here. We're seeing now some more militarized police. I'm trying to get a sense for these are actually ICE agents, and it seems like maybe even some other agents that are coming out here from different. Yeah, from the Federal Bureau of Prisons and elsewhere, forming now a line across against these protesters and press on the other side. You see them there outfitted in all of that tactical gear. They're already starting to pull back some here. Pulling back there across the road to the other side, and the crowd shouting, "Shame, shame." And the crowd inching forward, moving towards those agents. And you see many of those agents, what they're armed with. They've got guns that fire pepper balls. Many of them are holding pepper spray or mace canisters in their hands.
Get the fuck out!
And what we were just about to hear from Flynn was about the use of tear gas that has already happened out here today. And of course has happened in previous days when myself and John Farina, who's behind the camera, have been out here covering these evolving protests outside of the Whipple Federal Building as the Trump administration applies more pressure, more force to the Twin Cities area, attempting to effectively beat or arrest it into submission as these communities have stood up to express that they do not want the federal government in their communities, and even in one now high-profile case, killing a member of these communities with the shooting and killing of Renee Good just a few days ago. You see the agents now coming back forward, telling the protesters to move back. Another shove there of one protester off to the side of the camera here.
Big man with a big gun! What are you gonna do? The people back here! Traitors! 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 What did you want?
You hear that animated response from the crowd, and the way they get more animated when they're met with that federal presence, when the officers have been back across the road as they were when we first arrived here on scene for the many minutes that it was taking us to get set up and get ready to do this live report. The crowd was quite calm, subdued. That's part of a pattern that we've seen not only here but in other cities across this country, where we've been documenting what the Trump administration has been doing as part of its deportation agenda. We have repeatedly seen that it's the federal agents who come in and directly escalate the situation. It's one thing to clear a path for a vehicle to travel, another to then keep adding more and more agents and then leave that presence out here even as vehicles do not need to get through. You notice how militarized some of those agents are with the camouflage that they are wearing, the vests, the weapons at their sides. Right now, the federal government is using a bullhorn to tell the protesters to disperse, and failure to do so could result in arrest. They're saying more, but I can't quite make it out over the anger of this crowd. You see here some more another federal vehicle moving past here. Looks like several of them, or at least a couple. But what we've seen is a real pickup. We've been on the ground here in the Twin Cities, with aside from a break that we took around Christmas, we've been on the ground here since early December. And that's enough time where we can see patterns develop and change. And we've been here at the Whipple Federal Building. There weren't these kind of protests here back in December. It was just a few activists who would monitor when ICE agents were going out on patrol in their communities so that they could be prepared to document what the agents did or to warn their community members that the federal government was going to have a presence in their neighborhoods. And at that time, you'd see some vehicles come and go, and there'd be lulls of long periods of time in between. But what we've seen now over the last several days is the Trump administration originally began a surge of some 2,000 agents over the course of the next month, right before Renee Good was killed. And then since then, promising another 1,000 agents, so 3,000 agents that they are going to now deploy here in the wake of Renee Good's killing. Is a huge uptick in the amount of traffic here outside the Whipple Federal Building, as it seems agents are constantly go in and out of the facility. Some of the protesters chanting, "We want Ross, we want Ross," a reference to Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good, and who is now the subject of a federal investigation led by the FBI into his shooting to determine if it was just. You see a big van now moving past this crowd. You get a sense for how animated this crowd is. John, I'm getting the sense that things are probably stable enough where I could probably do an interview. We always like to hold off on doing interviews when it's a dynamic situation, not only for our own safety, but for the safety of the people we might be talking to. They need to remain aware of their surroundings in case tear gas is going to be deployed, or they're about to be shoved by an agent or jostled by the crowd. So we always try and pick those moments carefully, but right now things have kind of settled into a new normal. So I'm going to go and grab somebody to talk to very quickly here.
Shame! 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 Shame!
I grab it? Shame on you! All right. So I'm standing here with Graham. Graham, can I have you start by spelling your name for me?
Graham.
And Graham was one of these demonstrators who I had, right before we went live, I was talking to him and Flynn, getting the sense for what they'd experienced here on the ground. And you see some of the protesters moving back, seemingly by themselves, to just clear a path here on the road for some what seems to be non-governmental traffic that needs to come through, making the path there so that those vehicles can pass here on the road. That's why the crowd moved back. But we had originally were going to talk to Graham to get a sense for what had happened here across the day, and Flynn. But then obviously we had that happen. Yeah, some things happened. So before we go back and talk about what had been happening here across the day, I heard you guys yelling out some things to the federal agents. Can you say what you were yelling, if you got any response?
Well, of course they're never going to respond. They have nothing to say for themselves. But I was just letting them know that one day justice will come for them, and it will flow down like a mighty stream. And they can't stop the moral arc of the universe. They cannot stop the people united. We are standing together as a community, and we are stronger than their jackbooted thuggery.
When you say that justice is coming, what would that justice look like to you? What do you want it to look like?
I mean, it's going to come in the form of indictments. It's going to come in the form of, public accountability and transparency. It's going to come in the form of unmasking some of these people and putting their names out so that they can be held accountable by the government and by, their communities and their families, because, they're ruining lives. They're traumatizing children. They're tearing our families apart, and they need to be held accountable for that.
Flynn, is there anything you would add to what justice could look like in the event that it is ever able to come for these communities?
It's gonna be, the first step is them leaving, is them going, is we don't want them here. They are not welcome here. The city of Minneapolis, the state of Minnesota, we don't want them. We are proud of our immigrant neighbors and our community.
So I just, for the audience's benefit, just so you know what's happening here just off screen, the agents have taken a few steps back, I suspect also to allow that traffic to pass. And the protesters are basically holding their space. They're just chanting, "Ice out now, ice out now." So if you're hearing some of that come across through the mic and wondering what is going on.
Oh.
The crowd, the federal government is back on that bullhorn now, announcing that this is the demonstrators' second warning to stop blocking the traffic of federal vehicles in and out of that facility, or else they'll be met with arrest or with force. What's your reaction when you're hearing to the extent you even can hearing those warnings from the federal government that they're going to use force, going to potentially arrest you for demonstrating on, what ostensibly is public property, the street?
Yeah, this is our city. We walk these streets. We know, these neighborhoods. They are invaders in our city. They don't know us. They don't know our city. And these are public lands. These are city streets. These are sidewalks. And they can't tell us what to do in our own city. They have no authority here. They have no leverage over us. They have no legitimacy with the people of Minneapolis.
Flynn, I think probably a lot of people watching at home who aren't out here, they're going to see, or maybe who have never been through being tear gassed or pepper sprayed or threatened with arrest by federal government, they're going to see this. Oh, and we're just getting some pepper balls being fired here at the seems like being fired just at the ground, perhaps. It wasn't exactly clear where those pepper balls were fired, but that sound that we just heard, that very distinct sound, was the sound of a pepper ball gun going off. I'm not seeing the telltale marks on the ground right now of where those would have hit, or if they were actually directed at somebody in the crowd. We'll be getting some more, we'll be going around talking to people and trying to get some more, but that's that escalation that I talk about. What we have noticed out here and in other cities is that the federal government, their agents, are so quick to reach for the weaponry that they have. But there's not much in terms of dialogue with the crowd. aside from a couple of warnings, that's it. And then it's immediately to the use of tear gas, the use of pepper spray, if the warnings even happen first, which, as we saw down in Chicago and was even the subject of some court cases, is that in that case it was largely Border Patrol agents were not issuing those warnings, and a judge actually had to step in and attempt to force those agents to use those warnings, and still it was found that the federal government was in violation of that court order. But now you see here an even larger gulf now between these agents and where they are standing, and these demonstrators and where they are standing here on this side. And I'll note that this entrance that we're looking at here to the Whipple Federal Building, it's not the only entrance. There is at least one more, and there might actually be two more. But this was not the original site of the demonstrations outside of the Whipple Federal Building. There's at a secondary entrance down the street from where we're standing, down the street in the direction you're looking, is another entrance where the protesters had been forming and demonstrating out there. But that entrance was very quickly locked down. Eventually, it was even had a barbed wire gate installed across that entrance. To, I guess, make sure that the protesters could not walk in through the gate or down the driveway. And you see and hear a car drive by, laying on its horn and giving the finger to the Trump administration and its immigration enforcement agents. Another here driving down, holding out a sign. I cannot see what the sign says. Another is a whole convoy of vehicles that are also against the federal government rolled by as part of this demonstration. That was met with cheers from the crowd. That other entrance was locked down, had a barbed wire fence gate put across it, I guess to keep the demonstrators from walking up that entryway, though I had never seen them attempt to do so, get into the parking lot of the Whipple Federal Building. But still, they had that barbed wire fence installed. They had concrete barriers like you see over here installed over there, including on the opposite side of the street. And there the federal government was kind of holding a line of, which side of the street. They were allowing the protesters to be in the street so long as they didn't cross the yellow line in the middle of the road. Otherwise, they were very quickly met. Hearing another warning, a final warning, the federal government, that the protesters need to stop prohibiting entry and exit here from the federal building, or else they'll be met with arrest and force.
You're the reason we're out here.
And it's being met with jeers from this crowd. It's not clear exactly, would the attempt be to arrest all the protesters? Is this just a scare tactic? If the previous demonstrations are anything to go by, the use of force probably very much in the cards, as has already been seen today. Flynn, Graham, I want to bring you guys back in here as we're continuously interrupted by the proceedings out here. But I want you to just give again that sense. The agents moving forward now, pushing the demonstrators off the road. A few of them holding pat.
And we're seeing here the use of pepper spray and the firing of pepper balls. Seeing a lot of coughing right now. Myself and John have donned our safety equipment so that we can continue to breathe and protect our eyes, because them spraying that pepper spray and shooting those pepper balls kicks up a huge cloud of chemical irritants into the air that affect not just the person that the federal government is aiming at, if those agents are even aiming with a single target in mind, but it also affects everybody else, even anybody who was obeying any orders that the Trump administration was giving. Those people get punished too. Members of the press, like ourselves, who are just here to document what is happening, get affected too. Make no mistake, there is no such thing as a single targeted event or a single targeted use of force. Any of these quote-unquote non-lethal means always have collateral damage. And John, if you could turn the camera on me for just a moment. The agents are pulling back right now across the street. That's why I was pulling back there into the actual entryway to the Whipple Federal Building. But I want to take a moment just to reflect on the fact. Look at the way I am dressed. All right? This is what it comes to be able to cover the Trump administration's immigration agenda. It is a reporter donning goggles, a reporter donning a respirator, and if need be, I've got a helmet at my side. These are the necessary tools of our trade just to be out here to hear from demonstrators, or some of the same things that the demonstrators themselves need to wear just to be able to exercise their First Amendment rights. Because of how quick the federal government is with a hair trigger use of force on these agents out here. John and I
Learned a long time ago that we need to
be prepared
for whatever might come our way. So when we come out here, we've got this gear already on, ready to go. I wanted to talk about this because John and I have been through this so many times now, just in the coverage. John, for years, don't get me wrong, has been covering scenes where there is authorities using force. And I'll just point out really quick across the road that a lot of the agents are even walking even further back now. This is the pattern that I keep trying to tease out in these interviews before we're interrupted by more use of force that we need to cover. But this has been the pattern today. The pattern has been these agents largely hanging back until the protesters apparently merit another round of force, and it seems to be somewhat regularly. We were hearing perhaps every 35 or 45 minutes or so that these agents will come out and use this force again. But I want to point out that I'm making such a point to talk about this use of force out here because I was reflecting when John and I were last broadcasting, after we had last broadcast here outside of the Whipple Federal Building. I was reflecting on the fact that we got tear gassed that day. It was just a couple of days ago. We were tear gassed out here along with everyone who was out here demonstrating. As the feds that day were using a lot of force against the people who were out here, and we're seeing a taste of that already. But I had become so inured to it just from our coverage down in Chicago, and the months and months and the regular use of force out there, that I barely even mentioned the fact during the broadcast that we got tear gassed. Like, if you weren't watching, if you would have just been listening, it would have been such a fleeting mention, such a small thing. And I got to feel the need to really emphasize the fact that what you were just seeing there, that cloud of chemical irritants that was kicked up by the Trump administration out here, I don't want to normalize it. That use of force on Americans using their own tax dollars to buy weapons to use against them shouldn't be something that's normalized, especially by the press. And just because I'm dealing with it as a regular part of my job, I should not be falling into that trap either. So I want to emphasize that that is what is happening out here in these places, these front lines in the fight against the Trump administration's immigration agenda and its other policies that it is implementing that are leading some truly cruel outcomes for people. What cannot be kicked under the rug is that use of force, including deadly force, like what was used against Renee Good on Minneapolis' South Side on Wednesday. Okay, Flynn, Graham, first of all, thank you. We'll get this interview done in about 40 parts across the next 8 hours. But before I launch back into my questions of you guys, I should probably start with just, are you guys okay after that?
We're fine. We're great.
Yeah, we're
I
good.
got hit worse earlier. It was not as bad.
So that's what I want to talk about was earlier. So when you're saying you got hit worse and earlier, what was happening?
So what happened was an older gentleman who we would later learn is a 74-year-old veteran came to the Whipple building and backed his car into the entrance here and got out of his car with an anti-ICE sign and stood behind his car. And as a bunch of protesters came to join him at the line, a raft of DHS, HSI came around the corner, hot. They deployed tear gas first, followed by, you know, pepper balls. And then, you know, once we didn't immediately run for the hills, it was pepper spray all the way. And I was just trying to hold that gentleman's back. I was trying to stay behind him and give him the space that he needed, but he didn't want to come back with me. He wanted to stand his ground, and we got pretty much the worst of it. But that gentleman did end up getting arrested and not only detained, because they can't, obviously, and not only 30 minutes ago, they sent him back out here because his car's on public property. He was out there with a sign, and, you know, they let him go because they can't hold him.
And Flynn, do you have anything to add to that description of events, or maybe calling out any of the other uses of force? Like, how many times have we seen this sort of pattern that just played out in front of our camera, where the agents come out, use the force, and then pull baback? At least in the time that you've been here,
I'd say like 4 or 5 times in the last 3 hours or so. So yeah, probably about every hour, 45 minutes to an hour, they'll come out and do this.
The feds are on the bullhorn. The feds are on the bullhorn right now, calling out one of these protesters by a description. They're saying, "Hey, you there in the black hoodie with a hat on and a certain glove," that seemed like they were describing, saying that you'll be arrested. We have probable cause if you keep doing what you're doing, which it wasn't exactly clear to me. I couldn't hear everything they said, but calling out now individual protesters, almost as if to say, we're watching you. You were talking before about how the display of force out here was not intimidating to you, but no. I mean, even that, I mean, when they're calling out individually, describing what somebody's wearing, like, you don't feel, you're not cowed by that.
No. I hope they do arrest me for this. I hope they do.
Why the hope? Why the hope?
Because the world is watching. The world is watching Minneapolis right now, and if they prove that they are arresting peaceful protesters who are standing here doing nothing more than yelling at them, they're scared of words. They're scared of words. And it's shameful, and the entire world is going to pay attention to that, and it's not going to last. They're not going to be able to keep doing this at the same scale that they are.
So in all of this excitement that has happened, normally I would begin an interview with a very basic question like, oh, why did you come out here today? What's the message you wanted to deliver? Not getting to that until just now because of everything else we've had to deal with, but I do want to ask that question. Let's not get the message or the purpose of being here get lost in the actual just back and forth action that is happening. Why did you feel passionately enough to be standing here and to actually desire, to maybe even desire being arrested for the stand that you're taking?
I've got you. This community is so tight-knit. We care about each other. We love each other. We know each other. And, we are not going to be intimidated by these goons who have invaded our city. The message that we want to send to them is very clear, that they are going to face opposition peacefully in every forum, every day, until they are gone. That is the message we are sending to them today.
Flynn, what's your message?
So Renee Good was shot about 1.5 miles away from my house. So she was my neighbor. This is my community. These are the people that I work with. I see every day. They are my friends. They are my family. One of my coworkers just yesterday told me he was going to have to leave early to chaperone his parents going to the grocery store. And that is Nazi Germany shit. You should...
Let's pause there. Let's pause there. It was always the small, mundane things that would strike me when we were down reporting in Chicago. The way that American citizens we were talking to who were out at a restaurant saying, I'm not going anywhere without my passport. My passport! Within the United States of America, I'm not going anywhere without my passport because I need to be able to show agents that I am in fact a resident. I have to carry my papers with me in the United States. And here we're talking about somebody who needs to be escorted for something as basic as going to the grocery store. It's a Sunday. A lot of people do their grocery shopping on Sundays, on Saturdays. If you did that in the last couple of days and your community is not being actively victimized in the same way that the Twin Cities is right now, think about how that would change the way you think on a day-to-day level, the way you comport yourself. If you had to be worried about potentially being abducted or worse, by Trump administration goons who are outfitted in military gear jumping out of unmarked vehicles, who are not identifying themselves, being rough, being physical, putting you under arrest or detaining you. Think about how that would alter your day-to-day life. So yes, I apologize, Flynn, for interrupting you there, but I just really like to drive that home. So in addition, so you're explaining this person who's now doing this, the escorting.
Yeah. So he's my coworker. He's 26. He, like you said, he is also carrying his passport on him. He's escorting his parents to and from things like the grocery store, and outside of that, they are not leaving their homes because they are scared. They are scared that they are going to get taken off into an unmarked vehicle and taken God knows where and sent to God knows what country. And it's insane. It's ridiculous to me. It is Nazi Germany shit. The time is now.
The time is now for what? What kind of action do you want to see, maybe here in the Twin Cities or across the country, as a way to resist what is happening?
I mean, we would like to see the Senate not pass a new budget for the Homeland Security Department. They have, the leverage and the ability to use their influence to reduce their budget, to make their lives harder, because they're making, they're ruining lives out here. They're ruining families out here. And they should not get paid. They should not, have a moment of peace, at their place of work. They should not have a moment of peace in any restaurants, but they should be, reminded of what they're doing to people out here every time they go out. And, I think that our local officials have done what they can. They're more responsible than the people running our federal government, and they're put in a hard position, and they don't want to inflame tensions further. They don't want to give these people a pretext to escalate. And I understand the difficult position that they are in, and they need to continue to use every lever of power at their disposal to support the people. And I have faith that they can do that.
So Graham there focused on what he wants to see from leaders, and I want to talk about leadership again in just a moment. But Flynn, maybe I'll have you focus then in on what do you want to see from just, the common masses, the people across this country. What kind of action would you like to, if you could deliver a message to them at home, what kind of action do you want to see people taking in their day-to-day lives?
Get out in the street. Do exactly what we're doing right here. Make friends with your neighbors. Know who the people around you are and who you're going to be interacting with on a day-to-day basis. No matter where you are. I lived in Florida for 10 years, so I also protested in that scene. I lived there in 2020. I lived there in 2022 when Roe v. Wade got overturned. There are good people doing good work in your community.
Yep, some more agents are coming out here, Flynn. That's why I'm letting you know. They're just turning on some lights, and yep, we see the parade of agents coming back this way. John's going to turn the camera here in just a moment. He's got to resituate some gear to be able to do so. But then, yes, we're going to turn and show you, because there's been another spate of federal vehicles coming and going, traffic here on this intersection, as thousands of more agents are now being deployed here to the Twin Cities. We're seeing that greater presence. And apparently, it's not clear to me. I guess it's where the protesters stand in the street, because it's always so hard to tell with these things. It was the same way in Chicago outside of the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention facility, where we were regularly live. It was so difficult for us to know on a day-to-day level what the rules were going to be for authorities, for the federal government, and then eventually the local and state authorities who took over a lot of the security around Broadview, to know on a day-to-day level what the rules were going to be. When would someone be arrested? Or when would force be used? And it's the same thing here. When we were last here at the Whipple Federal Building, the rule had been do not cross the midline of the street, which for the most part, the protesters have respected that here today. But now it seems as though the federal government is saying nowhere in the street is acceptable, perhaps, because the protesters were, as far as I could see, they were all standing just on this half, the near half to where our camera is, on this side of the street, and still you saw all these dozens and dozens of agents come out here. I should give you a sense of scale of these protests as well. As many agents as you're seeing right now, it's probably somewhat more protesters than the number of agents that are out here right now, but it's very close. It's very close. And that's a common thing as well, where we see the federal government mete out punishment. They deploy nearly as many agents to handle the crowd as there is members of the crowd. But of course, there's a huge power imbalance, and the crowds in, I think, every scene that John and I have been at are not inherently threatening. But it's still the federal government that power imbalance works, is there not only in the training that the federal agents have to deal with these crowds, but also the amount of force that they have. You're seeing there some of those agents that are holding those pepper guns, the pepper spray that we called out earlier. But now I'm seeing even at least one agent who's wearing the tear gas canisters on the front of his vestments. So it goes to show they have that ability as well, beyond the pepper spray and the pepper balls that we saw deployed out here earlier. And as the federal agents now advance, telling the folks to move back, you're seeing them there pushing and arresting one of the protesters, actually two of the protesters now being arrested out here. Being arrested. Multiple agents dogpiling on those protesters as the other agents come forward and yell, "Back up, back up."
Fuck you guys! Fuck you! We're fucking protesters! You guys are fucking traitors! Fucking cowards! Terrorists! Nazis! Fuck you guys! Fuck you guys! Get the fuck off of them! Fuck you guys! I'm gonna call the police on you! Get the fuck off of them! Fuck you guys!
One of the men who's off camera right now is being arrested, is now being marched back towards the Whipple Federal Building. The officers pulled him up and have one officer on each arm pulling them back towards the building. The other protester is still laying down on the ground right now and is now being sat up and also being walked towards, it looks like, yes, walked towards the Whipple Building. And then the officers there moving backwards. The protesters moving with them a little bit, though allowing a bit of a gulf to develop between the two sides as they yell, "Shame, shame." And I'll note that a lot of the heads that you're seeing out here in front of you in the camera on the protester side of the street are actually press. So it's not protesters who are getting that close in many cases. That's actually press just getting in there to get shots, etc.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Seeing some of the protesters urging some of the protesters to move back because they feel like they might be giving the federal government what it wants. There's always that push and pull in the protest movements that we have covered. The desire to be in a position, be in a physical place to either, throw sand in the machine, so to speak, to try and slow down the federal operations, or just to be able to make your voice adequately heard. You see one protester out there with a whistle who had walked closer to some of the federal agents, but that push and pull between wanting to be in a physical position to be able to say more, be able to say their piece, and then that pull of don't give the federal government what it wants, of the visual, the propaganda opportunity, because we've seen the Trump administration at scenes like this, agents with cameras, who we have then seen those cameras, their footage used to produce propaganda that's put out on the social media for the Trump administration, for the Department of Homeland Security, some of its constituent agencies, or some of its leaders. So you're seeing that back and forth. It is so common out here. John and I are just moving back a little bit as we continue to cover things here. But I want to, John, if you could point the camera down. I'm not sure how easy it is here, but I want to point out these white marks here on the ground. These are those telltale signs of pepper balls that I was talking about earlier. It's using this white splatter that happens from where they impact, and I should actually be quite careful about how much I disturb it, because you can kick it back up. We went through that at Broadview, where you can kick it back up and it becomes almost some dust that gets into the air and can re-agitate again. and it'll get on your clothes. I'm not seeing any on me right now. Maybe a little bit on my fingers. I got to be very careful about how I use these gloves now because pepper balls, once it gets on your clothes, it's very easy to brush it off or to, again, kick it up off of your person and have it agitate you that way. So I have to be very careful now with these fingers, what I do, and I'll be trying to wipe them off here, maybe on some of the snow here a little bit, just try and wash that off a little bit. But this is the kind of thing that we have to be able to do to bring you this frontline perspective of what is happening in this fight against fascism, encroaching authoritarianism here in this country. We put ourselves right there on the line of where these things are happening to give you that on-the-ground perspective. And we've been on the ground here in Minnesota with, aside from a break around Christmas, as I've been saying, aside from that break around the holidays, we've been here on the ground documenting what's been happening here since early December. So not when Renee Good was shot and killed. We were already here in the city. John was on the scene very shortly thereafter and was able to... It was some of our reporting that got out some of that video that you've been seeing, one of those camera angles that you've been seeing. We were one of the outlets that were able to get our hands on some of the video that's going to be used now in likely an independent investigation led by the state and local district attorney's office into that shooting. Because we believe in being on the ground where these things are developing. It was not a secret that the Trump administration was cracking down here on the Twin Cities. Not a secret by any stretch. Operation Metro Surge, as it was called, and we're seeing some agents jog back there towards the building, but Operation Metro Surge, as it was called, was publicly announced by the Trump administration. The agents were here. John and I arrived shortly after it began, and we began documenting what was happening. And I was watching at the time when we were here how many stories were being written about what was happening here in Minneapolis. John's turning the camera here to show you that there's some agents who are running back towards the Whipple Federal Building with some urgency. It's not exactly clear why. It looks like there might be what's going on in there? Trying to get the better perspective. Honestly, you watching at home might have a better perspective than what I do. You see their agents moving. It looked like it was press mostly, moving them back away from the federal building. Flynn, did you see what was going on there?
All I saw was that they started running, and then I looked over and there was some press standing at the fence. I think there were some people in the parking lot. Unclear what they were doing or why press was trying to take pictures of them and why they were immediately shied away and shoot out.
Yeah, it seems as though, excuse me, getting a dust up of pepper in my throat. John, if you come this way. Oh, I was going to show, I think, the people who they were responding to there. Yeah, we're seeing some federal agents are down off to the right-hand side of the screen here, and that's who John is pivoting around to show, as some agents take up positions down there. And more agents are here off to the left side as well, here at the road. Watch out, John. Yep, and you see some of those agents now coming back to take back up their positions that they had after they had gone running back into the parking lot. John, what I'd like us to be able to do is look down this fence line here. Okay. Because...
I gotta take the thing out.
Yep. We are, just so you guys are aware of what's happening right now, we have some equipment on our camera that's essentially sunglasses for our camera to allow us to have a little bit of a better image when the sun is out, as it was today. But here, as the sun begins to set, just like wearing your sunglasses at night while you might look cool is not very practical. So we're just taking those sunglasses off of our camera here.
Hold it for a second. 1 second.
Yep. Got it. I haven't even had the chance to say it since we started the stream, but please share this stream, get it out to as many people as possible. I always like to make the point that on-the-ground journalism is not inherently rewarded by social media algorithms, and we need masses of people to send the message. We need you to send the message that what we're doing here is important and that more people should see the way that the Trump administration is responding to the true masses of people who are coming out to demonstrate against what they are doing. We need that signal to those algorithms to be able to get the word out and get our journalism out. So on behalf of us and on behalf of our partners at MeidasTouch who are also supporting us in this journalism, please share the streams, whichever. Oh, we're watching agents now come out after one protester who's running back into the safety of the crowd there as agents surge forward. And I'll note that this black SUV that you're seeing drive past was just driven by a woman who was not related at all to the federal government at all here, and she immediately, as soon as she saw those agents coming, stopped her car and put her hands up in a motion of surrender. And that's the kind of fear that is embedded here in the people on the ground. That sense of, if Renee Good was shot, what's to say that it could not be me next? I know that I was driving around our vehicle today, near some Border Patrol agents as they were conducting operations in St. Paul earlier today, and I was being very, very conscious of how close our vehicle would get to the federal convoy for that same reason of just being afraid and wanting to, out of an abundance of caution, keep that space because we have seen the use of that force. You see some of the agents had come forward towards the crowd, now backing up a little bit. It seemed like, again, that hair trigger of force that we have seen from the Trump administration.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did they still see the person's walking back forward. They were about to arrest them. They decided not to. Just walking back forward, pointing her out like you see.
So, John, if you can, just behind these agents, you'll see a guy with a red backpack who's dressed in black with a red backpack and another gentleman with a red or maroon sweatshirt on. Those two guys back there, that sprinting that we saw of agents back into the parking lot, it seemed to actually be to go and talk to those two guys who had, it seemed to me, they seemed rather bewildered when the agents ran up to them, that I think the agents assumed that they were protesters who were trying to gain access to the Whipple Federal Building. But I think there's a gap in the fencing down to the right, closer to the building, and I think those people were just coming up because there are a number of government offices that are housed inside that building, not necessarily coming here for federal immigration enforcement reasons, could have been for a whole host of reasons, but it just inadvertently walked up through that gap in the fencing looking to get to wherever they were trying to go, and then not realizing that they had walked up through the situation. I don't know that to be fact. I did see them make that walk, and those were the two people that the federal agents swarmed. So I'm kind of reading in between the lines here if it seemed like maybe a miscommunication, because the agents did not put those two under arrest. They just walked them back over to where they were standing there near the gatehouse to the roadway here at the federal building. Walked them there, and then those two gentlemen have just been standing there ever since, seemingly like looking at their referencing like their phones and such.
Get something on out of the bag.
Yep.
Hey, are you guys live right now?
Yeah.
I noticed the uniform's a little different today.
Federal agents just holding that line right now, occasionally separating to allow vehicles through, but otherwise just holding that line here. And we're just taking a moment here to make sure that we're looking after ourselves a little bit. We're breaking out the hand warmers because it is cold, and there's a wind chill. And anybody who's from the Midwest we'll tell you that it's not the cold that gets you, it's the wind. And so we're just breaking out the hand warmers to try and keep ourselves warm and functioning, and so that we can remain here giving you this live look at what is happening here on the ground just outside of Minneapolis at the Whipple Federal Building, where ICE and other immigration agents are staging so many of their operations. And if you value what we're doing here on the ground, if you see the inherent value of what we're doing, documenting on a day-to-day level for days at a time, weeks at a time, months at a time, what the Trump administration is doing in places like the Twin Cities, like here outside of the Whipple Federal Building, the force it is using on protesters who have come out to say that they do not want ICE and other immigration officers in their communities. If you value that on-the-ground perspective, please go to StatusCoup.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you go to sustain us, keep us here on the ground, keep us supported, keep us doing real journalism, the kind of thing that is so fleetingly rare. Earlier I was telling you about how when we first arrived here on the ground in the Twin Cities, I was counting the number of national stories that I saw about Operation Metro Surge and the ICE ramp-up that was happening here. And there's a fresh round of coughing here in the crowd, including from myself, as it seems like some of the pepper that's already on the ground is being kicked up into the air, perhaps by the wind. But I was counting those national stories in December. And I remember the Washington Post wrote one, and I probably saw some from a few other outlets, but it was really only a handful of stories. And at the time, John and I were thinking, like, where the hell is the national media coverage here? It seemed like so clearly the federal government's focus on its deportation agenda had turned its sights here on the Twin Cities. And we watched and we documented on the ground as ICE did things like drag a pregnant woman across the ground with no regard to the crowd yelling to them that she's pregnant, she's pregnant. We documented as arrest after arrest happened here, the community's response and the groundswell of opposition, the ramp up in pressure, and the fears of people here on the ground. The fears of people here on the ground that something like what happened to Renee Nicole Good could happen in their communities. The warning signs were there. And the press was not until after the shooting happens. And that is too commonly the case. And it's why we value what we do of not only being on the ground, but being sustained on the ground for days, for weeks at a time. John and I both have families. We both have daughters that we would like to be able to see, but we know that this is so important that we spend days and weeks and months on the ground in these places because this work is so important. So if you want to help support us in that work, please go to StatusCoup.com/join. $5 a month, 16 cents a day is all it takes to keep us sustained here on the ground. And I want to note something else here. I want to note that what we saw with Renee Good's killing was not some unforeseen event. The people here in the Twin Cities saw it coming. They were worried about the ramp up in pressure being applied to their communities by the Trump administration. They were worried about the effects that was going to have. But we were also worried. We were talking about it here at Status Coup way back when we were on the ground in Chicago. We saw that pattern of escalation from the Trump administration ramping up the pressures rather than trying to turn down the dials in these communities where people were feeling more and more anxious and more defensive every day. And the Trump administration was feeling more and more aggressive. Its agents acting more and more aggressive every day. We saw it coming. We talked about it on our live reports, on our live broadcasts, that eventually someone was going to be shot. It did happen in Chicago. One man was killed, and then a second woman in the Brighton Park neighborhood, Marimar Martinez, was shot 5 times, left her with 7 bullet holes by a Border Patrol agent. This actually happened. We saw it at the time, and in the case of Marimar Martinez, because it was a story, don't get me wrong, it was a story for a day, 2 days before it faded out of the national spotlight. But it was not that bright red warning sign that it should have been. Because then it happens with Renee Good, a mother of 3. She is killed in her shooting. And now we are here today. It does not need to be this way. We could have real accountability in this country. We could do it. But it has to start with systemic change, including from the press, where we have to be willing to put ourselves here in these places to show the uncomfortable truths here on the ground, make ourselves uncomfortable, to be able to show the scenes of what is happening in cities like Minneapolis, like St. Paul, just a few miles away, like in Charlotte, North Carolina, where John was and threatened with arrest, like in Chicago, where we were for 2 months, like in LA, like in Washington, D.C., that has been occupied by Trump administration soldiers, like in New York, where we documented ICE officers arresting people as they would come out of their court hearings, or like Alligator Alcatraz and its mirrored concentration camps that the Trump administration has established across the country to handle the thousands upon thousands of people that they are detaining in cities like Minneapolis and many other cities across this country. You have to multiply that pain. And you have to realize that just because Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent, that does not mean that, oh, well, that's like now things will just inherently change. They don't just inherently change. You can and probably will see even more shootings. The day after Renee Good was shot and killed, the day after, there was another shooting in Portland, left 2 people shot. That was Border Patrol agents. So even murdering somebody does not cow the Trump administration. Yeah, we're noting that the crowd is now surging that way down the street, and that is that's just because there's an agitator down there that is gaining their attention. That's another pattern that we've seen at these demonstrations, in not just here but cities across the country. There will be a whole crowd of protesters out to voice their displeasure with ICE, with the Trump administration, with what it is doing, and then an agitator will come in and try and draw the protesters' attention away from the issue at hand. We're watching those same patterns play out here in the Twin Cities. Flynn, I want to just finish our interview because I really only had one question left for you, and that was about leadership, which we had started to talk about. I want to know, do you feel like you're seeing adequate leadership right now from the opposition party, from the Democrat? You're already saying no. Explain. What kind of leadership do you want to see?
I want them to stand up, stand their ground, not try to do any kind of like pussyfooting. I want real change, and I truly feel that the only way that we're going to get that is by doing things like this, to have people on the ground making their voices heard. And I promise you, whoever you are, wherever you are, there is good work being done in your community. Get involved. It matters.
It matters. You're saying people here on the ground. I mean, would you like to see your leaders here out at the Whipple Federal Building?
I would love to. I know that...
Yeah, Representative Ilhan Omar and 2 other congresswomen, Angie Craig and the third, who I unfortunately forgetting in this moment, were just yesterday morning, were out here demonstrating and, they're not demonstrating, excuse me, but asking to be let into the Whipple Building. They were let in for a few minutes, and then suddenly that permission to be inside was revoked by the Trump administration, by the executive branch, and they were ushered out. And we have documented that, and if you're not, go to our YouTube channel where we have that reporting. But so I'm assuming then you're calling out those congresspeople as like examples that you'd like to see more follow.
Ilhan, I also, like I said, I used to live in Florida. I used to go out and protest. With Max Frost, I used to protest with, Anna Askamani. They also are good examples of people. Like I said, there is good work being done in every single community in this country. You just have to find it. And yeah, it's very important to get involved. Whether you are somebody like me, I work food service. I Like, there is...
Holy shit, look, they can run!
Yeah, federal agents coming out again. Flynn, thank you so much. I'll cut you loose now. You're good. See the agents coming back out right away. It's not clear to me, again, why they're coming out now. The protesters are even further back off of the street than they were before, and yet we get this same presence of federal officers. We've got one protester here off to the left who is standing with arms out.
Sir, they're coming out. Right-wing antagonizers over there in the Jeep.
Okay, some of the protesters telling me that they feel that the agents are responding to the right-wing antagonizers that we were talking about who are down the road, and drawing some of the protesters' attention. That they feel that that little altercation there, and I shouldn't even lead you with the belief that it was in any way physical. We weren't over there to see it, but from what we could see from where we were standing, it looked like it was just a verbal exchange. But then that still, apparently, from the protesters' perspective, then led to the agents coming out here again. And I'll say that does track with what John and I have seen out here over this past week of demonstrations outside the federal building here, where right-wing provocateurs have come out just to agitate the crowd. And we've seen and documented, you can go on Status Coup's social media and on our YouTube channel, where we have documented that the federal agents are in effect acting as bodyguards for those right-wing provocateurs, meriting out way more consequences on the protesters who are here to demonstrate against the federal government's presence in their community than they are on the right-wing provocateurs who are expressing pro-ICE messages, even though those right-wing provocateurs will violate the exact same rules that have been set for the protesters, standing in the wrong places at the wrong times, etc., etc. It's still the protesters who get dramatically more force applied to them. And then the agents pulling back.
Get the fuck out! Kill yourself while you're at it, you piece of shit! Just go ahead! No way to live!
Well, we get these little lulls in the action. I always feel the need to seize on these moments where I'm not just having to describe the play-by-play of what's happening, to do a few things. One, I want to thank our partners out here. The least we can do is give them thanks on our broadcast. So I want to start by thanking the MeidasTouch network, who co-hosts our streams, and that gives us a huge amount of, and they give us a lot of support here on the ground in the reporting that we are doing, especially in giving it a platform, lifting it up. So thank you to the MeidasTouch network, who we are reporting in partnership with out here. I also want to thank our team members at Status Coup, Jordan, Colin, Michelle, Ty, who are, though they are not physically here with us, are with us in spirit, because they are working around the clock just like we are, because what John and I are able to do here on the ground could not happen without their support back home, doing things like technical support for us. They set up a lot of the streams. They help, John and I are rushing from place to place to get all of these stories that we get in a given day, and I'll talk more about some of the reporting we did today here in a little bit. But they are working tirelessly, including some of the support folks who I know are a little more shy and don't necessarily want to be called out by name, but some of our human resources folks and things like that, who are doing a lot of work to keep John and I fed here on the ground, because sometimes we don't even have time to stop for food across a day of our reporting. So thanks to them. And then thank you to you for watching. If you're a member, if you're already a Status Coup member, thank you so much. It's your financial support that goes to afford John and I's accommodations, so that we can sleep at night, have a place to sleep at night. You go to afford those occasional meals that we are able to have, unfortunately, too infrequently at times. So thank you to you from the bottom of my heart. If you'd like to be one, please go to statuscoup.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you go to keep us here sustained on the ground. We're greatly appreciative of that. I want to thank the people who just subscribe to us on YouTube. You get all of our reporting, and it's your views and your likes on our videos and our comments that help boost us in the algorithm and help make this a real, not only people-focused reporting on mass movement reporting, but also one that is sustained by a mass movement of people. So thank you to those people as well. If you're not currently subscribed to Status Coup, please get subscribed. I should probably also say the same for if you're watching on the MeidasTouch network as well. Get subscribed to them. We're help support truly independent media in this moment, since we've seen such a failing of corporate press, which I attempted to illustrate earlier in the way that they were not here on the ground in any appreciable sense before Renee Good's killing. Some of the officers right now yelling at some of the protesters to get out of the road. Yeah, I mean, well, so a little bit. You guys mind if I interview you about what's happened before we got here? Yeah, you don't.
I'm fine with it. Yeah. But I wanted to say
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that here. Yes. Yeah. Well, we saw the tail end of it. I didn't see it.
But they told us that they will use pepper spray, arrest us, or use any physical force necessary. Like if we had any force, they would take any. So, and one of them just started shooting. I have it on. Oh yeah. Yeah. I like they shot it. The action's on. They shot it. Yep. I have it on. My friend, do you need a shot?
I would love to get this. Yeah, John, I'm gonna get some really good video right now. Thank you. Can you just take that? I'll get some video.
Trump? How fucked up is it? I bet you like to fuck kids too, you fucking bitches. Fucking white beater child fucker! Fuck you!
All right, so the agents are leaving now, going back into the parking lot. All right, JT is busy grabbing some footage from when we were not here, right before we came. He's getting some footage so we could piece it to a story later. So make sure you are subscribed so you get that notification for when we post videos and go live.
That's right. Go back inside, you fucking bitch. Hey guys, we got a car coming out. At what temperature does your pepper spray stop working? Fuck you. Okay. Fuck you. Nobody fucking likes you. Your fucking wife stays your cute. Fuck you. Get out of our town, you racist fucks! Oh my god.
What's happening, bro?
Fuck you!
Yeah, we got Mercado here, Mercado Media, and we got Ford Fisher, News to Share. The boys are in town. We're streaming each other. It's a Spider-Man meme. They're doing it. Yeah, so we roll around together. Mercado Media. Yeah. Mercado Media's based here in Minneapolis. He's been helping us out a lot, taking us around, showing us Minneapolis. We've been rolling together, looking out for each other, doing logistical stuff while we're looking for these ICE raids. So we all been working together, helping each other out. So go give them a follow. Mercado Media and Ford Fisher of News to Share. All right, JT.
It's okay, you don't have to take them off.
Thank you, John. This is my cameraman, John.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
I am standing here with Bella as I get my glove back on here. All right, Bella, first question just to get you started talking is always the easiest. Can you spell your name for me?
Bella.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Bella. So how long have you been out here at the Whipple building? We'll start with just today.
Yeah, so I've been here since 2:45, so was that about 3 hours-ish?
Yeah, coming up on it.
Yeah.
So you've been out here for that long. What have you seen across this day? How have the agents been conducting themselves?
It's kind of, they run in and then they run out. At one point they shot pepper bullets at us. They're not just aiming at the ground. I got hit in the arm by it. There's a mark. So they're clearly not aiming at the ground. They kind of surge at us, I feel like, to escalate and then run back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you're already kind of getting at my next question, which is like, is there any rhyme or reason that you've seen to like what prompts them to run out?
Yeah, I've noticed it's happened a couple times where people are getting a little too close. There was one situation over there where they started booking it because someone was taking pictures. I don't know what that was about. The last time they came out, there were some right-wing like antagonists sitting in a Jeep over there, and protesters were starting to crowd around. So they were coming back to, I don't know, I guess, diffuse the situation. I don't know.
And when you say you feel like they're here to antagonize, what is that antagonizing? But like somebody who's been standing here, because we're trying to talk to people through the camera. Yep. Describe for people who couldn't be here. What does that antagonism feel like? What does it look like?
Well, it's like they don't need to be out here, and that's very clearly shown by them coming up and then running away. There's no physical danger to anyone in the building. Protesters are not surging up to get into the parking lot or anything. They're just standing here. We've been able to like self-regulate and back up, allow cars to pass, but they've been yelling about that too. But it's just a lot of unnecessary issue. Like, I don't know, like they don't need to be up here. They don't need to be up here. They keep running up here, and them not being up here just proves that there's no reason for them to surge towards us. They've come all the way up to the crossing line right here, and we're allowed by the police to be back here. So it's like that was just not necessary.
Do they draw any, when we were out here the other day for a while, they were saying don't cross, the yellow line in the middle of the road. Are they clearly expressing to you, like, where you can stand anytime?
Not that I've heard from them. The police officers have asked us to stay back here, kind of around this line area, crossing line. But the ICE has not specifically given us any super specific, like where you can cross and where you can't cross.
You're out here in the Minnesota cold, enduring being shot with a pepper ball, enduring the use of pepper spray. We heard about tear gas being used before we got here. But you're enduring all of that for what purpose? To deliver what message?
I mean, just to tell ICE to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. Like, it's not... we all know why they're here, but the tactics that they're employing are too aggressive. It's just, they're breaking so many laws. I'm a law student right now, and to see this is just absolutely egregious. And I'm so disappointed in how the justice system has been conducting themselves. It's disgusting to see, and it's like, making me lose faith in the future of our country. And so just coming out here, being present, showing them that it's not okay is probably the best thing you can do right now.
Did you start coming out after Renee Good was shot and killed, or were you already demonstrating before that?
I started coming out after that. Like I said, I'm in school, so I haven't had a lot of free time to do stuff.
But you're saying that, okay, now I have to take to the streets.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how your emotions have evolved? I've asked a lot of people here in the Twin Cities area about how they felt, in reaction to the shooting. What was their initial reaction? I guess now I think we should probably start to focus on how your feelings, your emotions are changing as more time passes from when Renee Good was shot and killed. How are you feeling about that incident now? Clearly still motivated to take to the streets. What are the feelings in your heart right now? Is it grief? Is it anger? What are you feeling?
I think it's a lot of anger, and like I said earlier, it's a lot of disgust for the justice system. I mean, all the discourse around whether or not the agent is going to be prosecuted really it makes me really angry. So the biggest emotion I feel is probably just straight up anger. And just anger, honestly. It's just so disappointing.
So disappointing. What kind of change are you trying to effect here? Obviously, you're saying, you want them out of the Twin Cities area. Is there anything else that you want to see as consequence for not only Renee Good's killing, but all of the uses of force that you've seen employed here on your friends, neighbors, not only here at these protests, but in the actual abductions happening in neighborhoods all around the Twin Cities?
I mean, just following the law. We have laws set in place so that ICE agents can legally deport, criminal age. There are laws for a reason, and to see them not following the laws when they are a federal government agency, I think them just following the laws would be the biggest thing. Getting warrants, judicial warrants, not just the other warrant. I think that's the biggest thing, just following the law, straight up. I mean, they're not even stopping at the stop signs over here. They're just plowing right through. It's insane.
Yeah, insane. Plowing through is what you're referencing.
They just hit my friend the other night. They fucking ran it. He lives in Uptown, and they fucking ran him. They rammed into his car, and then he chased him around the block 3 times.
That's what part of Uptown? I live over there.
I don't know, like Lake Street or something. He was over there, but he chased him around the block 3 times, and they pulled off. I mean, he reported to the cops, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I want to talk a little bit about leadership. What kind of leadership would you like to see from your local leaders, from the opposition party in this country? I mean, I'm gonna assume no love for President Trump on your part out here. Yeah,
absolutely
I didn't think so.
Not. No.
Didn't think so. But then it's really a 2-party system that we have here in this country right now, for better or worse. And what do you want to see from that opposition party, from the Democrats right now?
I mean, I think it's hard. They're trying to do things, but it's not effective. I think, again, just implementing laws and trying to follow them as best as we can, no matter what that looks like. I mean, like I said, I don't know how. I don't know. I just want them to follow the laws and do things lawfully. I want them to do things safely. I want them to stop hurting people. I don't know how our government leaders could change that. I really don't.
You're talking about passing laws. The Big Beautiful Bill Act, as it is known, I mean, paved the way for record levels of funding for ICE, making it more well-funded than many countries' militaries. This country has the ability to spend money when it wants to. It seems like those things are always on bombs to be dropped on foreign countries or to be deploying force against its own citizens. If the federal government were to spend money in a way that could actually benefit you, benefit maybe your friends, your family, what are some problems in your life that you feel like the federal government could do a better job of addressing?
I mean, I live in a big city. Homelessness is one of the biggest issues here. I think countries in Europe have completely reformed how they treat homelessness, and that has just absolutely changed everybody's lives over there. I think it's really important to focus on homelessness. I think it's important. I don't personally suffer from food issues, but people who suffer from food, income issues, and they can't afford food, cutting the SNAP funding isn't okay. They need to bring that back, and especially the cuts to the Obamacare, that stuff, it's not okay. I mean, people need to, they can't afford healthcare anymore, and that's another thing that like we can put our money towards. That's better than ICE or the military.
I just want to emphasize, what you're referencing are such baseline needs for people. You're talking about housing, you're talking about food, you're talking about medical care when people are sick. That might be better targets for billions upon billions of dollars of government spending rather than on bombs, rather than on the tear gas canisters or on the pepper balls that are hitting you in the shoulders, or on this deportation machine that is being set up here. What do you feel like, and speaking of that deportation machine, what do you feel like the message the Trump administration is sending to you, is sending to your community, in the way it has responded to Renee Good's killing by only doubling down, sending 1,000 more agents on top of the 2,000 they were already deploying here? What do you feel like the message is that's being sent?
I mean, they don't care about the law. They're going to do whatever they want. That's the biggest message. Like, they're just saying, I don't give a fuck. Like, they're just going to do what they want to do. And I think that's really concerning for the president to send that message. And I mean, especially too, sending the message that protesters are domestic terrorists is absurd. Like, I don't know, I'm not doing anything, and then I get shot with a pepper bullet. Like, what is going on here? And it's not an okay thing to spread across our country. It's creating a lot of danger for everyone out here.
Creating a lot of danger. We've seen shootings now, not only of Renee Good here, but 2 more people were shot in Portland the day after she was killed. We were reporting on the ground in Chicago for 2 months while we were there. 1 man was killed, another woman was shot 5 times, luckily survived. But this is now playing out in city after city around this country. It's become a pattern. What's the end state? Like, where do you see us going right now as a country?
I mean, I don't want to be like super conspiracy theorist, but I feel like, I don't know, we're going to become like a military country, and it's like ICE are just going to run the streets. They're going to do whatever they want. They're going to keep do that. And again, not to be conspiracy theorist, but he's primarily targeting blue cities. I mean, he targeted us because we have the largest Somali population, and it's just blatant racism. And so I don't know, I'm really fearful for everyone's future in the country, honestly.
Bella, anything else you would want to add while you have the platform?
Just get the fuck out of Minneapolis, as our mayor said. I don't know, people stay safe. If you can protest, get out and protest. If you can't, then contribute to community in other ways. We have people there's a lot of organizations online that I know of in Minneapolis. There's ways where you can go pick up food for people who are hiding from ICE or afraid of ICE. I mean, there's so many options. So just get out there and do your part and help protect the people around you.
Bella, thank you so much for your time.
Course.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Let's get back to it. Thanks. Oh, all right. Temperature as the sun goes down. I don't think the temperature is dropping as fast as it feels right now, but it is cold. John is offering me hand warmers, and I might take him up on this offer right now. So I'll probably be stepping off camera for just a moment to get these in my gloves to ensure that we can go the distance, because it's Minneapolis. It's January. It's cold. But we believe in the power of being here on the ground to show you scenes like this. Protesters lifting their middle finger to Trump administration agents, to goons in their communities who are here to disappear their friends and neighbors. If you believe that work is important, please go to StatusCoup.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you go to support us and keep us here on the ground in the Twin Cities. And give me just a moment here off mic so that I can get my hand warmers in my gloves and activated here, folks. And I'll be right back. Yeah, sorry. So we're.
I'm gonna tell my mom that I got interviewed.
Our biggest platform is YouTube. We have 600,000 subscribers there. Yeah. Go ahead and look us up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
How long are we down here? Oh God, we probably got here around 3:30.
Yeah.
Enough to see him pepper ball and pepper spray everybody once, though we heard tear gas earlier. What prompted you guys to come back? Get out there just in case, yeah. Well, welcome to the party.
Gathering by Minneapolis. You may possibly get arrested. Be careful.
What else did he do?
And they left. Yeah, they left that.
Civil disobedience is the right of every single American. It's our patriotic duty. We will not leave.
I'm back on the mic now. Hand warmers in as we see two more federal vehicles drive past and drive into the Whipple building, which again, some of these protesters growing a little bit bolder, going a little bit further out into the street. I'll note that the agents right now, aside from a
lady in the blue pants with blue shoes, do not interfere with the vehicles coming or going, or you will be arrested. You have been identified. This is your first notice.
One of the protesters there being directly warned, being described by some of the clothes that she was wearing, being directly threatened with arrest, but not being deterred, remaining out there to flip off, give a finger to many of the vehicles driving by. Do you mind if I interview you? You just got...
Sure. Are you going to interview my best friend?
Yeah. And then don't go too far.
Okay.
What's your name?
You gotta give a good interview.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I'm JT.
JT, nice to meet you.
This is my cameraman, John. Okay. All right. So I am here with Loretti. Loretti, the reason that we are talking, first of all, can I have you spell your name for me?
Yes, Loretti.
And Loretti, the reason we're talking to you now, I had been talking to you a little bit earlier about interviewing you, but the reason we were talking to you is because you were the one who just got called out by the loudspeaker there and threatened with arrest. You were described based on your clothing saying, hey, this is your first warning. You will be arrested if you continue to, I think they said, like, interfere with federal vehicles. Yeah. Can you describe what you were doing?
I've been flicking them off because fuck ICE and fuck the Nazis and running after them like a dog, chasing a fucking mail truck. That's all I've been doing is just flicking them off and yelling at them as they drive past. They're still able to drive fast. I'm not stopping them.
Are you feeling at all cowed by what they said on the loudspeaker? Are you feeling in any way intimidated, or are you going to...
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. I'm going to keep doing it because my parents were refugees. They're immigrants. My sister was an immigrant. Like, that... No, I'm not going to stand for this shit. No.
Can you relate your family story about, it seems like that's why you're out here, that it's so important to you personally. Can you just relate your family story a little bit?
Yeah, my parents and my older sister were refugees from Romania when it was the communism with Ceausescu. They escaped the country. They came here. My mom is a naturalized citizen. She lived here for
almost 40 years. And with everything going on, she's having panic attacks. She's scared to leave the house. She's scared to come to protests. She's 68 years old, and she stays at home, and she looks at the news and she cries. And she's like, this isn't what I came here for. I came here for freedom. I came here to be safe. And now the exact same thing that happened in Romania, I can see it happening now in America. This is how fascism starts. This is how a dictatorship starts. And all of these Americans who've lived here their whole lives and had democracy their whole lives, they don't realize that it's slowly being pulled away from them, that they're like frogs being boiled in water slowly, and you get adjusted and they're like, well, it's not that bad. I'm just too tired to deal with it. I'm too tired to fight. And then eventually that's when you have a military state where people are disappearing. My sister, when she was 5, my mom was threatened that, it would be a shame if something happened to your beautiful daughter if my mom didn't turn in my dad to the Securitate, the secret police. And so, it's our civil duty to be out here and to be fighting this. My dad was, fought for freedom in Romania, and I'll do it fucking here. I work with kids, almost all Somali kids. I would defend those babies with my life. They're scared. Their families are scared. It's fucked up. It's not right.
So much there that I want to follow up, but don't ever apologize. Yeah. But I want to start just by emphasizing that her mother, a U.S. citizen here, naturalized, has, on its face, nothing to worry about, afraid to leave her home because of the policies of this country, because of the way people are being targeted by this administration right now. I related to you the story earlier of people we talked to down in Chicago who were carrying their U.S. passports with them. Carrying their papers with them because they were terrified about being stopped and needing to prove their U.S. citizenship. Your mother afraid to leave the home. How are you attempting to support her right now in this moment?
Well, right now she's living with me. She's actually immigrating and leaving the U.S. because she doesn't feel safe. So she's not going back to Romania. She's going to Portugal. But she had to come back here in order to apply, get some paperwork finished. And she's, just been having panic attacks. I've been trying to comfort her. I don't tell her when I'm coming to these things because she worries about me. She's scared. She asks me not to go because she's afraid that something's going to happen to me. And I have a daughter, and so, it's scary. But, again, it's our civil duty, and this is what we should be doing, especially as white people, especially as citizens. We need to be out there fighting because we're the least at risk, and even people who are immigrants are still out here fighting. People who could be deported, could be arrested and detained by ICE, they're out here fighting. The least we can do as white people, as citizens, natural born citizens, is to also be out here with them and fighting.
Your mother being pushed to the point of leaving the country because she is so scared. You haven't mentioned any plans for yourself to leave the country, but so far, choosing to stay to fight for a better future. Why is that the choice that you made rather than leave?
I'm too poor to leave. I'm very poor, and in our current world, late stage capitalist nation, they keep us down, and so it's a luxury to be able to leave the country when you're afraid, and be able to live somewhere else that's safer. And for my daughter's sake, she wants to stay here. She's old enough to understand what's going on and to see what's going on, and she's like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to move to Portugal. I want to stay in America. This is where my friends are. This is my home. And this is where my friends are as well. And so I'm going to fight for her to have a good, hopefully a better future, and a future where her and her friends are safe, and everyone, all these kids, the kids that I work with, and no matter where they come from, that they can be safe and get an education and be safe. Hopefully free healthcare.
Hopefully. I want to talk about you're the kids that you work with, the fact that you are a mother, you have a daughter, you say, who is old enough to understand what is happening. 13. Yeah. I don't know how old the kids are that you work with, if it's
K through 12.
K through 12. So also many of them going to be old enough to understand what is happening.
I hear them talking about it.
You hear them talking about it. How do you hear them talking about what is happening in their city right now?
So I work in Eden Prairie schools. Gosh, I guess maybe it dox me. And there's a very large Somali population there, and lots of immigrants. And most of the kids on my school bus are Somali, and I hear them saying like, oh, my mom said don't open the apartment door if somebody comes to the door. Like, don't let the police in. Don't let people into the house. I heard just a few weeks ago, before winter break, I heard some. Sorry.
There are people yelling around us right now, I know this from doing this many times myself. It makes you lose your train of thought. Yeah. I sympathize.
Yeah. And I can hear, like, when I drive my high schoolers, I do like a late activity route, they'll be sharing videos of like the ICE brutality and ICE abductions, and talking about where they were last seen, or hey, we can't, like, don't go to the Walmart because they were there today. Like, so I can hear them talking about how to stay safe and talking about what's going on. So the little kids, they don't know as much. All they know is what their parents tell them, which is don't open the door for people. My boss has told us, as like bus drivers, he's made announcements saying don't let anybody on the school buses. If it seems unsafe to let the kids, don't let them off the bus. Bring them back to school. We'll keep them safe. Don't release them to the federal agents aren't allowed to be on the bus. So, we've been working really, really hard as a community trying to keep these kids safe.
As hard as it can feel, given I feel like every day almost these days feels like a year, but we're still less than a year into the Trump administration. 3 more years. You think about your daughter and those kids that you work with, what sort of at the end of this term that he has to serve, what kind of country do you feel like they are being left?
I'm going to be honest, it's really hard to think past just the next day. It's really hard to think about. Mostly it's just trying to get through every week, and I know that that's part of the tactics of those in power who are trying to keep us down, is keep us exhausted, keep us from thinking about the future. But it's honestly, that's really, I've just been able to put one foot in front of the other, and just try to get through day by day. So that's I don't know. I'm like scared to think about 3 more years with Trump in power. It's terrifying.
And I think I think everybody watching at home would certainly understand, at least hopefully be able to empathize with the idea of, taking it one day at a time. What are you doing? I mean, you're out here, you're not you're putting your body on the line. You're being threatened with arrest. What are you doing to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself sane in these moments?
Something that really helps is mocking the ICE agents. That's really cathartic. And it's kind of nice to get some of that like pent up, anger, that like impotent rage that you can sometimes feel, where it's like, I feel like nothing's changing. I feel like nothing's getting better. It's good to kind of get it out and yell it out and, make fun of them a little bit. And also just like, creating a found family, of people that are like-minded and have that empathy and that compassion and that love and care for everyone, and making sure to spend time with them and to not shy away from these difficult conversations and not shy away from the reality of what's going on. It's really easy to like bury your head in the sand and try to not think about it, because it's really easy to get really depressed. But just kind of working through. I mean, I'm here with my best friend who's like a sister to me, and we're always talking about like, okay, what can we do next? What more can we do? And taking action has been the biggest way to kind of keep that depression at bay. Like it helps the most, because when you're just at home watching these things happen, it feels so much worse than when you're actually taking part So yeah, that's. I don't even know if I answered the question. I have ADHD. So
you did, and then some. You're great. My last prepared question for you, and then I'll let you get back to your protest.
Cars, yeah.
If you could talk to an ICE agent face to face, what message would you deliver?
I guess my sorry. If I was trying to go like the serious route and not just make fun of them, is just be like you have the opportunity to make the right choice and be on the right side of history, because things like the Holocaust and slavery and the civil rights movement, wars, unjust genocides, things like that, they start slow, and it's so easy to get twisted into hatred and twisted into fear and letting that take control of you and make you think that you're doing something good when really you're harming people. And all I would say is just like make better choices. Look deep in your heart and think like, are you really helping people or are you harming them? And I think it's pretty fucking obvious that you're harming them, because if you're dragging people away, you're a fucking terrorist. So
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Is there anything else you would want to add?
Oh, God, I've already talked so much.
You really have.
Yeah. So, no, so I should shut up.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So, I have your business card. I can send you more video footage and stuff.
Were you able to send me anything?
I sent one,
okay.
Just so that it's like in the process, and then after all this is done, then
when things are calm,
send the rest, and hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, Heather, you ready to?
Hi, Heather.
Oh, a dog.
It's your turn.
Hi. I am here with Heather. Yes. Heather, just to get you started talking, and if you could take about a half step towards me, please. Just to get you started talking, could you say and spell your name for me, please?
My name is Heather, Heather.
And how long, I want to start like kind of bigger picture, how long have you been out here? And when I say here, I just mean more generally, like out in the streets demonstrating against the Trump administration, its immigration agenda. What started it?
Well, first of all, when we saw it, like, okay, so a couple days before, like, they came here, me and my friend noticed, the one you just interviewed, we noticed that there was a lot of southern trucks, like people from the South, and we were like, that's kind of weird. And then the Chanhassen thing happened, and that's when we started protesting. We went there to...
And just to inform viewers at home, you're talking about Chanhassen. That was the scene where a couple of people were being, literally frozen out by ICE agents in the cold. Yeah, brothers being in the cold. It was sub-zero temperatures. John Farina, my cameraman, ended up having to go to the hospital because his hands were so cold, and he's still recovering from that. But ICE agents keeping these people out in sub-zero temperatures, literally freezing them out.
I'm not sure if you knew, too, when they gave them the blankets, that's actually when ICE left. As soon as they got the blankets, ICE left. So, yes. We watched them.
So seeing that scene is what prompts you to get out and start protesting?
No, just knowing that people were trapped up there. They were working. They were doing nothing but working hard for their family. And they were trapped up there. And it was like negative 20 degrees weather. And so we brought blankets and stuff and hand warmers. They wouldn't let us give any blankets. Lots of people brought blankets, hand warmers. Don't let them do it. So it's not new. Like, dealing with them, it's not new.
And when she's saying it's not new, it's going to what I have been saying, that this story does not begin with Renee Good's killing.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So my grandparents are Holocaust survivors, and they're alive, and the stories they told me are very, very similar to what's happening right now. First, it started with propaganda. It started with it didn't start with the Jews. It started with LGBTQ, disabled. They said, hey, these streets are a little dirty. We don't have jobs. Let's arrest these people and put them in ghettos, which were little, secluded districts. That's what started. It was just propaganda and just arresting people for taking jobs. It's literally the same thing that's happening. And I understand it's scary, but you can't keep on sticking your head in the sand. We need to protect these people. There's people who are vulnerable are out here protesting. When people like me, I'm a white woman. I'm safer. we can help protect the people who are vulnerable. And I want to see more people like that out here.
Want to see more people take to the streets. And when you say out here, do you mean physically here outside the Whippo building protesting? Do you mean in the neighborhoods, like doing things like Ice Watch?
They don't have to be Ice Watch. I just want to see people like sharing supplies, sharing information, helping their neighbors. I know it's been happening, but I'm not seeing a lot. A lot of people will be like, they'll criticize the protest, but they stay at home. And it's like, if you want something different, you got to go do it yourself. You can't sit at home and just criticize the people out here protesting.
So what are your grandparents, who, as you say, survived the Holocaust, what, if anything, are they telling you about this moment? Are they drawing those parallels to their experience?
They said they didn't think they would experience the second Holocaust in their life. They said it's exactly the same. They said it's giving them chills. I think it took like a few years before they started arresting the Jews. Same thing. It's like, they're not going to start just arresting people right away. And the thing is, that poem, I think it goes, first they arrested the Hispanics, then I didn't, what is it? First they arrested the Hispanics, I didn't say anything, and then eventually when they come for me, nobody was left for me. And that's exactly what's happening, I feel like.
And you want to be sure that you're part of this movement that's standing up now.
I don't care if I get any recognition. I don't care if that's why I haven't been posting any pictures. I send them to people, like reporters. I don't need popularity. I don't need to be acknowledged. I just want to make sure these people are safe. Like when we were at Minneapolis, we made sure, like, when we see kids talking to police, we'd walk them away, or we'd buddy with people to make sure they're safe. I don't care if anyone knows if I'm here. I just want to make sure other people are safe. That's all.
And just to underscore what Heather is saying there, it's you might be saying like, oh, but she's doing this interview now. I want to point out that I had to repeatedly ask Heather to talk to me because we were talking off camera, and she was comfortable with that. I had to repeatedly ask you to come on camera before you would, not to say I pressured you, but you did eventually come back up to me and say, okay, I'm ready to talk now.
I wasn't even going to do an interview because, like, I wanted to stay behind the scenes because, well, also you see all the hate people are getting just for speaking up. Like, they may not even be, like all the hate Renee's getting. Like, there's so many memes and hateful rhetoric out there. I've been seeing also lately there's rhetoric that we're being paid. Like right now, that people are saying we're being paid right now to protest this.
Are you being paid?
I wish. Can I be paid? Like, hello? No, I wouldn't want to be paid. I donate it all, bro. Like,
yeah, not paid protesters. I have been at so many of these demonstrations. How many times do you have to debunk that same fucking talking point? My God.
Yeah,
but focusing back here on the issue at hand, for people who are not living in the Twin Cities right now, who are across the country, and maybe their community has not yet been one of these cities that has been targeted by ICE, by other immigration agents. What is it like to live in the Twin Cities area right now?
It's scary. So I'm from Detroit, actually, and so I'm used to violence. I'm used to seeing all this stuff.
Stay out of the road.
And
second warning.
So I've seen violence. I've seen crime. I've heard shooting outside my house constantly. Like, it's very common. That didn't scare me like this scares me, because these people, I just seen a clip today. There was a guy filming and they shoved him in the middle of the street in front of a bus. They don't care about the protest. Like here, they shot a few people with the pepper spray. They chased after people. The people they arrested, they shoved them to the ground. There was like 5 people just shoving them to the ground. They don't care about people.
When you hear your friend there, just over the bullhorn again, being called out, identified not by name, but being identified by the clothing she's wearing, saying you will be identified and arrested, does that intimidate you at all? Does that make you slow down?
No. Like, what are they going to do? It's just like pathetic men that took a job to hunt humans. Like, guys, like, why would I be scared of that? Like, they want us to be afraid. That is the whole point, you guys. I know it is scary, but they're counting on that silence. They're counting on that fear to push us back. Because when we did Minneapolis, the protests, they told us, they scared us. There was 4 different police or whatever. They scared us, but they left. They eventually left. They eventually gave up. That's the thing. We can't show them fear because that's what they want. And that's what they did in the Holocaust. My grandparents, regrettably, they showed fear. They didn't talk. A lot of people and there wasn't as much media as there is nowadays. They showed fear, and that's how the Holocaust happened, because people buried their head in the sand until it was too late.
Heather, I want to end just by focusing on the many problems that this country is facing.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Aside from, no, you're doing fine. The many problems this country is facing aside from ICE, because of billions and billions of dollars have now been funneled into ICE, leaving it more well-funded than many countries' militaries. I'm giving you that setup to say, what is something that you are struggling with in your life, or a problem that maybe somebody you know is struggling with, that the federal government could begin to address if it instead funneled that money that's currently going to ICE into addressing the problem?
I was homeless, actually, in July. As you see, I have missing teeth because I couldn't get my health care. Health care is very difficult to get in this country. I've been trying to fix these since I arrived here in last February. I was homeless. I am on the housing thing. And actually, a lot of people don't know this because I only know this. I was part of the housing association, like I'm on it. And I was told that the fraud in the housing is actually from the higher ups. They were taking the money from the people who were supposed to get the, I was the last person. You get $5,000 to furnish your home. And instead of giving those to the people, they were keeping them for themselves. I was told by one of the people up there, they were keeping all the money. So now I can't, they're thinking about shutting off the heating. They're thinking about shutting off the food stamps. And that's, like I said, I was homeless. Like, I came from a terrible situation. And yet, because of this, I'm struggling because of this. And then don't even think about, like, the daycares. How are they doing? Like, you know what I mean? And what are they gonna cut off next?
Is there anything else, Heather, that you would like to add before I let you go?
I just want to say, immigrants are welcome here. You guys are Americans, no matter what anyone says. And please be safe. Actually, wait, hold on. Frankie, what's that app where you can press the? It's very
Ready Now. It's called Ready Now. It's an app, so it's got you make pre-made messages and your contacts that you want to send those messages to, and you have to hold the button for 1.5 seconds. It'll send a message out to your contacts, and it also, if you opt in, it will send an email to immigration defense lawyers.
Yeah.
So for people that are getting picked up by ICE.
So yeah,
it's a really good app.
Just wanted to make sure people know about that.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And I'll let you get back to demonstrating. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Whew. There, you're hearing from these voices in this crowd, the people who are saying that they are themselves struggling. We just heard from Heather, who herself was struggling with homelessness not a few months ago. And how real does that feel in the January cold here in Minneapolis? But instead of the federal government sending housing aid to the people here in Minneapolis, or providing health care so that she can fix her teeth, instead of providing that, the federal government is providing 3,000 armed agents to go into neighborhoods here, separate families, and shoot these same people who need support with pepper balls, spray them with pepper spray, deploy tear gas, and even in one situation to shoot and kill a woman in this community that then has now sparked a movement not only here, pushing back against the Trump administration. And I shouldn't even say spark. I should say has only encouraged a movement that was already standing up here. Because what was happening here was already brewing and could be seen coming. We know because we were on the ground here and we did see it coming. We saw the potential for violence. John and I talked about it repeatedly, not only here, but in Chicago and in the other cities that we have covered. It is not difficult to anticipate that applying more pressure, applying more force to these communities, making them feel more scared, these agents acting more and more aggressive, that it would lead to truly deadly outcomes, as it did in the case of Renee Good. And now we're here, outside the Whipple Federal Building, just outside Minneapolis, the base of operations for so much of what ICE is doing here. Standing here in the cold, in the dark, because these people want to be here. They need an outlet now for the rage, for the grief that they are feeling for their sundered families. If you've been with us here for the last several hours that we've been on the ground here covering as these agents have been repeatedly coming out and assaulting, arresting, and using force against these protesters, thank you for being with us for as long as you have been. We appreciate it. Thank you for being with us. If you haven't, like this stream, share it, get it out there. We need that help to get these messages out there because the algorithms don't reward it on them on their own.
People from reservations when they have a tribal ID. Remember, no one is illegal.
These protesters voicing their dissatisfaction with what is happening. If you value the on-the-ground reporting that we are doing here, putting ourselves, I always don't like, I tell my boss Jordan this, and I know John really shies away from this too, it's why he's behind the camera, but making ourselves the story, but putting ourselves here on the ground directly, getting tear gas, getting shot at with pepper balls, all to be able to bring you the truth of what these movements look like, these peaceful protests look like. If that's important to you, please go to statuscoup.com/join for as low as $5 a month. You go to keep John and I affording hand warmers and affording a place to sleep and affording food. The other thing that I want to do very quick is thank again our friends at the MeidasTouch network who help lift up our reporting and support our reporting out here. And I also want to thank the other independent journalists who are out here with us, who watch our back. We were riding around with two of them again today as we were out documenting what Border Patrol was doing in St. Paul. If you're not, get subscribed to Status Coup on YouTube, or go and look and follow our social media channels where we have put out or are putting out some of the video from what we got in St. Paul today, where Border Patrol Chief Greg Bavino was out with a convoy of agents as they raided, as they went into a Target, as they went into a Menards parking lot and targeted a food truck. Like that's the kind of people that are being targeted. Food truck vendors. It's not criminals, despite what this administration wants to claim. They do, don't get me wrong, I am sure they have gotten some people with criminal histories. But if anything, it is merely incidental to the mass targeting and profiling that this administration is engaged in. We know because we see it happen on the streets when we go out and look for what these agents are doing. Protesters are now cheering because at least one of the protesters who was arrested earlier, that you may have seen in the stream, has now been released and is walking out. And is rejoining the crowd out here.
That's against the law.
Of the road will be arrested.
He's leaving. I was just going to try and interview the protester who had been arrested, but looks like he's leaving now, and I think understandably so, after being tackled to the ground by ICE agents earlier here in the evening. If you're still with us, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. I was in the middle of giving some thanks. There was only one more that I wanted to give. I was calling out some independent media folks, and one who I like to call out by name is Andrew Mercado, who we have worked with here on the ground. He has really played host to us here in the Twin Cities over the last several weeks, especially when we first got here on the ground. He was a real guide and resource to us, showing us his city. He's an independent journalist who documents things here on the ground and has also been with us at some of the scenes at some of the cities across this country. Right now we're seeing more ICE vehicle traffic, which of course, or immigration agent vehicle traffic in and out of the Whipple building, which of course is gaining even more attention from these protesters. And it's that attention that moving out into the street, the giving the middle finger, as many of the protesters are, the shouting, that is then being met with the federal government's forceful response. If you are just joining us or weren't here for the action earlier, I'll just summarize real quick. We were out here as federal immigration agents and other officials with the Department of Homeland Security came out and formed a line, and then At one point, they tackled 2 protesters and arrested them. At other points, they have sprayed pepper spray and used pepper balls, kicking up a whole cloud of chemical irritants that went here into the crowd. Me and John had to put on our goggles and respirators to keep ourselves safe. But you still feel the effects every once in a while. Some of that pepper still gets kicked up into the air, and you feel the effects. And there have been several times here on the broadcast where I've had to take a break to cough because it's strong stuff.
Not a rush. I know.
Bye-bye.
Quit your job!
We just got word that right-wing provocateur Nick Sorter is here, so he's of course gathering a little the attention of some of the protesters here. And I just want to lay out what the business model for people like Nick Sorter is. It's to come to places like this, pose as a journalist, but express avowedly pro-administration or right-wing viewpoints, rile up the crowd, video the interactions that he has, and then acts as though and tries to paint these gatherings as though, these protests, as though they are riots. But of course, if you've been following along with our reporting, you know that this is not the case. The most that you've seen the protesters do is, you know, move out in front of cars and give them the finger. You see a bunch of the protesters now going over there and moving closer to the Whipple building, which may very well lead.
I know.
May very well lead to a federal response as well. We've seen them step in as de facto bodyguards for right-wing provocateurs who have shown up in the past.
Come on, keyboard warrior, speak up, you fucking pussy!
Back on your side, folks. Get back to our side. We don't fuck with white supremacy.
Come on, keyboard warrior! You got something to say, cunt? Say it!
Back to your side, folks. He's here to get you in trouble.
We are seeing some federal agents come forward now.
On their side, he's going to arrest us. So move back to that side. Move back. Move back.
You see those agents there. It might be difficult to see with the intense light of the cars, of the police cars, but standing just in front of them is a group of federal agents who are moving forward now towards where the crowd had gathered around Nick Sorter. You see the agents there saying, back up, firing some sort of like noise-making rocket into the air there, or flare. You're looking down that line of agents, Nick Sorter standing there on the left side of the screen. See the agents there standing, some of them with the pepper spray in hand, the canisters ready to go. Even more agents coming out now, joining this line.
Hey, your mom's a bitch!
So far, they're just holding this line here across a good chunk of the road. Protesters yelling back.
Let's get away from music.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
See, though, the agent's now pulling back.
Get back to your warm car. Come on, don't, pussy.
Billions of dollars at work right here. Those agents, the equipment they're wearing, all to give this physical intimidation to these protesters.
Imagine shooting peaceful protesters and flicking your brain.
See to hear this man waving the American flag. What a fucking symbol this is.
What does it say? Those kids would be so mad if they could read that sign right now.
The stars and stripes covering up a bunch of armed agents.
What does it say? Look, I thought you guys cared about people.
Agents of the United States out here to ostensibly carry out violence against the citizens of that same country.
We don't need $100,000 paycheck. We're out here all fucking night. You guys are celebrating with your guns. Put them down. Bonuses. 150K bonuses. Try to sell this without your weapons held out. Come on, pussy. Put down your weapons. Money, honey. Put down your weapons and throw them. Money hungry federal fuck. Fuck out of my sight.
Just letting you listen to the crowd right now. The messages that they have. Agents yelling, "Get out of the road, back up," as a group had formed around, well, I think it's Cam Higbee over there. Can you see, John?
Yeah, Cam and
Yeah.
Mike.
Oh, yeah, okay. Cam Higbee and Nick Sorter together, two, again, right-wing provocateurs who style themselves as journalists. Getting that response from the crowd. Seeing some of the agents pointing in the direction of Cam and Nick and some of the protesters who are there. I'm not on camera right now, so you can't see what I'm doing, but if you could, you would see me shaking my head, rolling my eyes at the fucking waste on display here. When I say the waste, I'm talking about the waste of money in front of us, the waste of money on this immigration operation, this crackdown, this occupation of this city that has led to a woman being killed, to so many, to apparently more than 1,000 people being abducted was the last numbers that we had seen from the Department of Homeland Security. The agents shouting again to people to back up, clearing space for a car to go through here. Noting that some of the agents across the way are coughing, apparently in reaction to some of the pepper spray that I am feeling on the air. The pepper balls, again, getting kicked up here. Nothing new deployed. This is the same stuff from earlier that just occasionally gets kicked up into the air. But they are feeling the effects of their own munitions. But this is your tax dollars at work right here. Some of the agents clearing to make looks like a hole here, or no, refocusing over where some protesters had been demonstrating in front of a vehicle. They'd been demonstrating in front of a vehicle, and that prompted the agents to move over that way.
Big man with the gun! Big man with the gun! You guys show up, he's ready to dig! Big man with the gun! Big man with the gun! Hey, better! Hey, better!
What's your name?
Nicole Davis.
Nicole, my name's JT. Thank you. This is my cameraman, John. And so I'm standing here with Nicole. Nicole, if I could have you just start by spelling your name, please.
Nicole.
And can you explain what you're holding right now, the significance and why you brought it here to this demonstration?
Yes. My grandpa was a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, James Schleppe. He had dual citizenship. He was born in St. Paul, but his dad was from Switzerland. So my grandpa had dual citizenship. He had a U.S. passport and he had a Swiss passport. He enlisted in the Army during the Cold War, and he told the Army that he had a Swiss passport. He voluntarily used his Swiss passport to go into East Germany to gather intel on the East Germans and the Russians during the Cold War. And I don't know how many times he went, but he went several times. Eventually he was flagged as CIA by Russia and by East Germany, and I don't know military terms, but if he was found, he was going to be killed.
I'm curious. And you're still telling your story. I'll let you finish.
He did that. It wasn't orders by U.S. Army. He did this because he was so angry at what happened during World War II that he gathered information to make sure it never happened again.
And I'm just noting here for folks watching that we're seeing the agents shift down here as flashbang grenade. It looks like actually tear gas just went off. Maybe no, just
gotta protect your own. It's an adjective.
Was that tear gas or was that just a flashbang, John? Yeah, flashbang. Flashbang grenade just went off, but it kicks up with smoke there, which is what led to the question for me. But that's
he gathered information that the American government never would have had.
Do you think that this country that you're standing in here, holding his flag here at this protest, is it the same country that he's signed up to serve?
No, not at all. He protested immigration even when I was a child. He thought that it was illegal. He thought that they were being racially profiled. He thought that it was racist and unconstitutional. And the treatment of immigrants when I was a child was nothing like this.
You brought his flag here to this demonstration to send what message? What did you want to come here to tell the federal government?
That American soldiers died for our freedom, so that what happened in Nazi Germany would not ever happen here, and now it is happening here.
Do you see us as being on that very same trajectory? I mean, you're talking about us going to a dark place, or maybe you already see us as in that dark place. Is there any way that you see as being able to right the ship, so to speak, being able to avoid an even worse, a more authoritarian future?
My grandpa never wanted door-to-door searches in America ever. He thought this would never happen. So to go further than this, I don't know. It's very terrifying that Secretary Nome said that they were stuck in the snow when they weren't. They weren't stuck in the snow. They were doing door-to-door searches.
Sorry, can you explain a little bit what you're referencing there? Just a little bit of the backstory.
When they killed Renee Good, they were doing door-to-door searches. They were not stuck in the snow. There was no snow. It was a beautiful day that day. They were doing door-to-door searches, and she tried to go on national television and come up with a lie.
You see the federal government spinning propaganda, spinning lies about the killing that it's doing in your community. What are the emotions that come up when you saw her saying things like that, and the other messages you've seen out of the Trump administration trying to lift up Jonathan Ross as some sort of justified in his killing, if not even, intimating that he's a hero?
That there are soldiers that died for this country, and we're spitting on their graves while we're right across the street.
How long have you been coming out demonstrating against the Trump administration? What was the animating moment? Is this the first time you've been out at these demonstrations?
For this year, yes. I have disabled children and they've been sick, so this is my first time out here. I was watching the news when we were about to have dinner, and I saw them attacking people here, so I came out here with this flag.
It was seeing the force that the federal government was employing on its own citizens that prompted you to come out?
They were detaining a U.S. citizen, which I still don't understand how ICE can detain U.S. citizens.
What are the feelings that you're feeling right now standing here?
It's scary. It's very scary. My grandpa went into great detail on what happened during World War II, and this is the very beginning of World War II in 1930s Germany.
I want to wrap up just by exploring your life just a little bit. We're seeing billions of dollars being spent by the Trump administration to outfit these agents that are standing across the road from you, to be able to send them into your communities, to break apart families, and to be able to tear gas and arrest or detain American citizens. What are some areas in your life, or maybe in the lives of people you know and love, where that same money could be spent instead to actually better your life and the lives of people you know? What are some problems the federal government should actually be addressing?
The disabled programs that Trump was so worried about being frauded. I have 2 disabled children. We just moved into what wasn't disclosed to us to be a non-attainment zone for lead. They have an autoimmune disorder. We have to leave, and I spent all of my money moving. We don't have a place to stay. If you're so worried about the disabled, why isn't that money going to them?
A federal government that can't even do some of the most basic health and common sense service to its citizenry, and instead spending that money on detaining American citizens and prompting such an emotional reaction. Thank you so much for your time and for being so open with us. I appreciate it. Is there anything else you would want to add while you had the platform?
I just hope more people open their eyes and see what's happening here. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean that there aren't allowed American rights. Soldiers died for everyone, not just the people that you like.
Wait over that way, dumbass. Not over here.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me get a picture. JT, hold on. What was her name?
What's this?
This is JT. Oh, what was her name?
Go home. Go home. Go home.
Pardon me. Can we snap a picture of you with the flag real quick?
They have drums, excuse me, they
Go home.
Hold on.
Go home.
Hold on 1 second.
Fuck you! Over there. I want to see attention.
I mean, what is there even to say after an interview that powerful when you have somebody who's bringing the flag of their, bringing the flag of their grandfather, a veteran. Oh, and we're seeing the agents here moving down the street. Another flashbang going off.
Unpinned the grenade 20 seconds ago. Threw it at our legs. That was even the MPD does better than that, bro. Hard. That was trash. What was the that was weak as fuck.
Yeah, it was still the protesters confronting Nick Sortor and Cam Higbee that led to those agents coming over and tossing a flashbang grenade into the protesters.
You've been identified. You see your blue shoes. Yeah.
It's like horseradish, man.
Yes. If you've been with us this long, I appreciate you for following along the action that we are covering out here. Covering on the ground just outside of Minneapolis, outside of the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building. This is the base of operations for much of what ICE is doing here in the Twin Cities area. If being able to see what is actually happening on the ground here and not just take, the 20-second clips from that the news will put on about what happens in places like this, labeling the demonstrations, the peaceful demonstrations that are out here as riotous. If being able to see this on the ground perspective is important to you, please go to statuscoup.com/join. Helps keep John and I going and our whole team here at Status Coup going. And to the end of support, we also thank our friends at the MeidasTouch Network for their support and their partnership in our reporting efforts out here. Please subscribe to both them and us here at Status Coup, because we also put out recorded reports on our channels as well. And you'll be seeing one of those reports about raids that we followed, John and I, before we came, and we were live here. We spent hours trying to find and document Border Patrol and ICE raids across this city, as some 3,000 agents are descending upon Minneapolis at the direction of the Trump administration. You see them there coming in?
But we're on the fucking side you told us to be on. What the fuck is your problem? We're not doing anything. We're where you told us to be. Again, we are on the side.
Saw the agents there spraying pepper spray. Went off microphone just for a moment to secure my own goggles in place for our own safety, as that spray gets in the air. Seemingly going after very specific part of the protest there. Not sure what led up to it.
Well.
Apologies.
Yeah. I'm going to walk over and talk to some of these protesters right now. If I sound a little muffled, I'm wearing my respirator again, just as precaution. And you see the agents just like that pull back. Protesters yelling, "Get the fuck out of here," which is probably both a commentary on what the protesters want to see in this moment, in this exact spot, but also a commentary on what they want to see across Minneapolis and the Twin Cities more generally. They want the Trump administration to leave, to stop brutalizing and in one case killing their fellow citizens and community members, neighbors, friends, and family.
Have you been here earlier in the week, or say your first day here?
We've been here since early December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you seen those two? I think someone says his name's Nick Schroeder. I know you guys came together. Have you seen them here before?
Yeah, they've been around.
They've been around there, yeah.
After Renee was.
Yeah, they came after Renee.
They came after.
I'll be honest, when I saw them go back and forth
It's I think the objections to Cam and Nick they frequent protests like this, and the framings that they put out about it, they kind of insert themselves in the chaos and that
I'm playing under names. One has longer hair, based out of DC, and then he was with me on Friday night when they arrested like 15, 20 protesters on South 3rd Street.
Oh, Will.
Yeah.
Will. Seeing the protesters again returning to their location there in the middle of the, I don't want to call it the middle of the street necessarily, but this intersection that leads into the Whipple Federal Building, again coming here to make their voices heard. I'll say that this crowd of many dozen, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say that it's 100 or more, because there are a lot of people here who are pressed, and especially in the dark it becomes difficult to say exactly who's who, but certainly dozens of protesters, and I don't feel like the crowd has really thinned, at least not in an appreciable sense, in the time that we have been out here. And the time that we have been out here now is at more than 2 hours. I think we're coming up on 3 hours that we've been out here and been live. If you've been following along with us, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Appreciate having you as part of our audience. If you wanted to support what we were doing, the number one thing, the smallest ask I can ask of you is to like this stream. A little bit more than that would be to share it, because getting this out to as many people as possible, or signaling to the algorithms that this is important, that this on-the-ground journalism is important, is the only way that we're able to get out and amplify and show what we do here, because the algorithms don't reward it in and of themselves. They have to be shown, pushed with likes and shares, so please do that. It's the smallest act you can do to support our on-the-ground journalism. Next thing you can do is get subscribed to us here at Status Coup News, and to our partners at MeidasTouch, because we've been on the ground in city after city for months and months now. We've been on the ground here in Minneapolis for weeks, since early December. We've been on the ground before that in Charlotte. We've been on the ground before that for 2 months in Chicago. We were on the ground before that in LA. We were on the ground before that in DC. We were on the ground in New York for all of the immigration enforcement actions in all those cities, as well as robust reporting that we offered around Alligator Alcatraz when that concentration camp was built in America. And now we're here. We're continuing to report on the ground here in the Twin Cities as people are standing up and trying to demand that the Trump administration leave their communities. So getting subscribed is one of the most important things that you can do. We appreciate that. Jolly, yeah.
He's everywhere I go. He just assaulted one of the guys. I was just trying to have an open. Yeah, he's in that room now. He's in that room. There's the crowd right here. Fuck guys.
Jolly, JT Skowski, Status Coup.
Oh, what's up, brother?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Oh, what's going on? Good to see you, baby.
Good to see you, brother.
I forgot mine. I gotta go buy
Oh, you got one?
I got one.
Yeah.
In Virginia currently. The ice is the ice.
No.
Suck my dick of the ice.
Can you give us 5 minutes, Jolly?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Here to raise hell with y'all. Shit.
Oh, yeah, man. What up?
What's up, brother?
Make a hole.
Oh, they're trying to get in here to the...
Go that way.
Yeah, I'm going in here with Jolly. Oh.
I know.
Damn right. But I'll have my shit tomorrow because I ain't letting these motherfuckers.
Yeah, you're gonna need it. They're using everything out
I know.
here.
I've been watching.
Jolly, I think most people watching probably know who you are, but for those that don't, can you please explain who you are?
I'm a concerned American who's watching our democracy both crumble before our eyes, as well as watching a authoritarian wannabe dictator literally circumvent 200 years of jurisprudence and uproot our law enforcement system. And what we're watching is the First Amendment right being taken away. Your Fourth Amendment right being taken away. They're going door to door in Minneapolis. This is a direct violation of the Fourth and Eighth Amendment rights. These are the things what we've fought for and what we've literally talked about in this country. What you were raised to believe America was. So I'm a concerned American that's standing in front of the building where they're holding hostages after they kidnap them. And my question is, have we had enough?
And you clearly have had enough. I mean, we see you're a mainstay in the protest movement in fighting for some of those basic freedoms that are supposed to be, I think, taken for granted in this country, but can't any longer. When did you say, I need to come to Minneapolis? What was the inciting reason? Was it Renee Good's killing? Was it some of the follow-ons?
It's the continued escalation. Yeah. Hang on one second.
Yep. Yeah, we're seeing a bit of a scene down this way, just down the road from where we were.
We're seeing a vehicle, presumably a federal vehicle, that had driven past the crowd here and abruptly stopped. Had abruptly stopped and now backed up and turned into the Whipple Building's parking lot.
I don't see shit. I didn't see nothing. My bad. Let's go.
That's all right, Jolly.
You see his mirror was broke off?
All right. Talking about these rights that are supposed to be taken for granted in this country, but cannot any longer. What was the inciting reason that made you want to come and be a part of these demonstrations here in the Twin Cities?
I'll be honest with you. I had a plane ticket to L.A. already. I was supposed to be at L.A. on the 13th. When I watched the cold-blooded murder of a civilian, of a legal observer, of an American citizen, by an agency that is acting outside of their own jurisdiction, outside of what they're legally allowed to do. When I watched that murder and then the subsequent immediate lying of this government, the cover-up from this government, and then the escalations out here in Minneapolis, when I see injustice anywhere, I understand the words of Dr. King. That's a threat to justice everywhere. I may not be a Minnesotan, but I will stand in solidarity with Minnesota. I may not live in Minneapolis, but what happens in Minneapolis may as well happen in my front yard. And every American, every person in this country needs to understand that this might seem really far away. I woke up this morning in Washington, D.C. I'm here now. It's not that far away. What happens here is happening in your front yard. And are you going to let it continue?
What do you think needs to happen for all of this pain and suffering that's been meted out by the Trump administration and its deportation agenda so far? What needs to happen for this country to be made whole, for it to start to feel a sense of justice and healing and reckoning with so many of these disgusting, horrifying events that have happened not just here in Minneapolis, but in cities across this country?
It's necessary to a free state that the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Not be infringed. Thank you very much, Charlie. I appreciate the time. You see that passion. See that passion on display here in this crowd, from the protesters who are showing up now from states away. We've interviewed people from Iowa, from Wisconsin, neighboring states, and now Washington, D.C. People are coming out here. Seeing some of these protesters who are out kneeling on the ground, laying on the ground. Protesters laying out in the street as a form of demonstration against the Trump administration, putting themselves in a vulnerable position in front of federal agents who have demonstrated that they are willing to use force if needed. And I shouldn't even say if needed, just willing to use force, period. Interview one of these guys here on the ground.
Pepper shit got in my mouth.
Pardon me, man. Pardon me, man. Would you mind if I interviewed you about the demonstration?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is my cameraman, John. My name's JT.
Angel,
What's your
Angel Castillo.
Angel.
Yes, sir.
Can you spell that really quick for me?
ANGELCASTILLO. I got two last names.
Thank you. You just laid down in the street.
Yes, sir.
What's the symbolism there? What are you trying to say? What's the message you're trying to send?
You can check out my Facebook, Angel Castillo. You will see a video of my best friend Lalo Rios getting taken away for recording. Got taken away, tied up like a hog. And he's a fucking human being. U.S. citizen, by the way. Born and raised here in St. Paul, Minnesota, and gets treated like a fucking criminal for recording. He listened to your orders. You told him to step back, which he did. You didn't give him enough time to fucking respond, you dumb and fucking dipwad.
Taken away by federal agents?
Yes, sir.
Disappeared.
We don't know where he is. We don't know where he is. We contacted here. They said he's not here. We're trying to contact the county. They just fucking kidnapped him. Where's Lalo? Where's Lalo? Where's Lalo?
When did this happen?
This literally a couple hours ago. 2-3 hours ago. If you go on Angel Castillo on my Facebook, you will see all my lives.
A couple hours ago, an American citizen disappeared into the Trump administration's opaque immigration prison system, these black sites that exist in public view here at the Whipple Federal Building in Broadview, Illinois, outside Chicago, and in cities across this country right now, where American citizens are being detained for the simple act of recording. What happened in the lead up? Why was he recording? What was he trying to document?
So I wasn't there with him when he got taken. I was covering a different scene where a federal agent took and ripped out an African American woman out of her vehicle with her passenger, ripped them out the car, laid her on the street. Again, she was an American citizen, I assume. This hasn't been verified, I assume. But Lalo Rios was driving down the street, happened to stop by Speedway, and recorded an accident that was happening there. They were arresting a different individual, had Texas plates. They broke his window. They dragged that man out of the vehicle, arrested him. I've seen a video, a couple clips. I haven't had time to be on my phone to kind of review all the footage. But again, a lot of bystanders, a lot of community members came out, stepped up, and showed what really happened.
Well, what's the importance of you and your friend documenting the atrocities that the Trump administration is carrying out here in the Twin Cities? Why do you feel that you need to be doing that in this moment?
Fake news. Fake news. Fake news is out here. Fake news.
So you're saying, hey, we've gotta show people what's happening here on the ground, what's actually happening to people.
Not no propaganda. I was born and raised here, St. Paul, Minnesota. I went to Trowbridge Heights Elementary, Community Peace Academy. They taught me everything. North St. Paul. I was in the Explorer program. I joined JROTC. Again, in a heartbeat, I'll fight for this country. Not this fight.
Does the detention of your friend, the force that's being meted out on these protesters here, does it in any way dampen your resolve to continue the advocacy, the work, the documentation that you're doing?
They turned me up. Y'all are now showing me you guys are criminals. Again, nothing I've seen. I've engaged in a lot of dialogue with a lot of these agents, very respectful, most of them, but a lot of racism. A lot of racism in here.
A lot of racism here on display. When you're saying that, are you talking about just blatant profiling based on the color of the skin and the people that are being detained, etc.?
Another great example is my another Facebook Live video where I'm patrolling my neighborhood and I just happened to come across these individuals and they were not using a translator. The lady did not speak a lick of English, but is a U.S. citizen. They didn't bring a translator out. They were still looking through her documentation when they were supposedly there for a target individual. But again, they're checking anyone else that is around that area.
Thank you very much for your time here. But the one question I still had about your friend's case. So he's you weren't there when he's taken. How did you end up finding out that he's disappeared? Because in so many of the cases that we've documented, where some people are snatched up, if there's not like the public videotaping of what's happening, there are families don't know what happened to them. How did you come to find out what had happened to your friend?
His girlfriend Ashley was right there, witnessed the whole thing. We got everything on video. And then if you wanted to subpoena the Super Americas, they got cameras on every corner. You will see what they did wrong.
If you could talk to an ICE agent right now and deliver a message to them, what would you want to say?
Nothing, honestly. Nothing. Because there's nothing to say to them. They knew what they signed up for when they signed that paper.
Fair enough. Instead of spending billions of dollars, on ICE agents, on the immigration enforcement efforts here and across this country right now, outfitting ICE more robustly than many countries' militaries, how could that money be spent to benefit either your life, your friends' lives, your family's lives? What are problems that you and people you know are facing that could be addressed by this federal government if it just showed a willingness to allocate resources in a truly beneficial way to people you know?
I would like you to pan this way and see what community is like. We need more community events. We need more ways to get off our phone, because again, they're pushing everything to be online. They're bringing a lot of this artificial intelligence. We need to be shoulder and shoulder, engaging in conversation. I hope to see some of you at the bars. I hope to see some of you at the state fairs, run into people. We don't have to agree. That's fine. We don't have to agree. But again, being respectful. That's it.
Angel, thank you so much. I appreciate the time. Appreciate the time. Yes, sir. Thank you. John, can you take this for just a second? All right? Take that for just a second. Thanks, John. Got it. American citizens being detained, being disappeared. People don't know where their friends and families are being taken. Earlier today, John and I were documenting the...
He was talking about the raid we were at, the Speedway.
He was talking about that raid?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I didn't even put that together as he was talking. Earlier today in St. Paul, sorry, John is just connecting dots for me here because I'm so focused on the next question I'm going to ask. I'm not always processing in the moment every single, the meaning of what somebody is saying. And John is pointing out to me that earlier today, we were at a Speedway gas station in St. Paul where immigration agents with Border Patrol went to a Speedway, and when they stopped there, they made an arrest. They broke a window on a car. They dragged a person out. Seemed like it maybe knocked the person unconscious in the process of the arrest or detainment, whatever fucking words the Trump administration wants to use to describe taking a person into their custody and disappearing them. And we captured video as it happened. And that, when John got back to the car and the other independent press that we were with got back to our car, we were talking and we remarked on the fact that that person who had been grabbed, their family, in that moment, was going to be unaware that their family member had been disappeared and might not be aware for a long time. In documenting so many abductions, now here in Minneapolis, but especially in Chicago, what we saw in Chicago were so many families that did not know what happened to their loved ones when they were disappeared off the streets. Because that family member may have just gone out to get gas, may have just gone out to do their laundry, may have just run to the store and happened to be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time when an immigration agent happened by and wanted to stop that person, demanding paperwork, and if they can't give it or won't give it, taking them into federal custody and disappearing them. And it won't be until hours later, after that family has tried calling, trying to contact their loved one, that family would walk up to the ICE facility just outside Chicago, walk up asking for answers because they just wanted some closure. They wanted to know that their loved one was still alive, still okay, because they had not heard. Had not heard from their loved one, and just wanting that closure.
That ice ball will scare me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Car coming out, make room, car coming out.
They'll usually fly them out there and handle processing. When I'm here, my head is down. I'm just focusing. Noting that the protesters now have started to pick up, bits of snow, ice from the curbs here to throw at the vehicles, the federal vehicles, as they leave the Whitwell Federal Building. And I was just talking to somebody off camera here for just a moment, somebody who had come to join the protest here and just had a process question for me about what happens, and I think it's a good question to answer here on the stream as well. What happens to people once they're disappeared off the streets here in the Twin Cities? What becomes of them? And John and I have been reporting on the ground now for several weeks, where we are able to answer that question partially. It seems that people who are taken here, are disappeared, are are taken and held here at the Whipple Federal Building, and then with increasing frequency are being shipped out on deportation flights from the Minneapolis airport, which is quite close to where this building is. What's your name?
Sky?
Sky? Nice to meet you. My name is JT.
I can't. My hands are fucked up.
Yeah, okay. You don't have to. So I'm standing here with Sky. Sky, I'm assuming spelled S-K-Y?
S-K-Y-E.
I-Y-E, okay. Sky, can you were just telling us off camera a little bit about your story. Can you tell us what happened to you?
So first off, I'm a United States Marine veteran. We were following them from a safe distance.
Following ICE agents.
Yep, following ICE agents. They stopped in the middle of the road and reversed on 62. They tried to ram our car. They tried to get us into a bottleneck. Once I saw a police officer from Mendota Heights, I tried to wave them down, and they funneled us straight into ICE's hands. Once in ICE's hands, they broke my window. They yanked me out by my neck. They threw me to the ground. They stomped on me. They pushed my face into the ground. They put the cuffs on as tight as possible to the point where it took 6 agents to try to get them off.
What let you talk about the local law enforcement working with the federal government to kind of funnel you in? What was the lead up when they get out of their vehicles, presumably, or were they did?
They didn't get out. They drove their vehicle towards mine until ICE surrounded mine.
Okay, so they surround yours, and then they come up, they break.
And then the cops went into a parking lot. They pulled off to the side, and they watched the DHS and Homeland Security and whoever else it was assault me. And they listened to me scream for help.
What I'm trying to get to is did they say anything to you before they broke the window, or was it immediate?
No, it was immediate.
Immediately
They said, "Get out of the fucking car, or we're taking you."
Had they stopped you at all before that? Had you had any reason to believe that you were about to be targeted before that?
They put their lights on, but they don't have any jurisdiction. As women, we're told to go to a well-lit area where we can make sure that we're safe and we're not going to be attacked by armed thugs. So we were trying to comply with what we've been taught our entire lives as women.
I'm getting the sense of emotion off of you right now. Can you walk me through what are you feeling in this moment?
This is not the country that I gave my life for. I took an oath, and it's the oath that they're spitting on and stomping on. And this isn't Germany. They're Nazis. They're Gestapo. They think that they're above the law. They don't care.
What was your intention when you're out there following them? Are you out there to document what they're doing, to warn your friends and neighbors? Is that that ICE is in your neighborhood? Is that what you were out there to do?
They shot my neighbor in the face this week. That's what I'm out there to prevent.
So you're directly inspired by what happened?
Keith Porter, Renee Good, all of the above.
Okay, so they break the window, they haul you out. They're stomping on you. They're beating you. As they're doing this, are they saying anything?
Yeah, they were calling me a bunch of derogatory names, calling me it. They tried to break my ankle. When he turned my ankle all the way around, I screamed, and he said, "Yeah, I bet you fucking like that, don't you?"
Was there anyone else around you to witness what happened to you?
There was a maroon sedan that turned right onto the street that I was being assaulted on, and they had their phones out. They shoved my face into the ground after that so hard I couldn't even breathe.
Do you get the sense that the agents, as they're doing this,
they're enjoying it?
Yeah, they're enjoying it.
They're enjoying it. They are 100% absolutely enjoying it.
Sky, I'm gonna have us move off to the side just because a car is coming through here.
Oh, this is Daria, I think. This is our ride.
Oh, your ride.
Yeah.
Your ride is here. Well, I don't know. I imagine that you're gonna.
No, it's not.
No, okay. Not your ride. All right.
Same car, different person.
Got it. So Sky.
Jolly Ginger. Hey, come here.
So they're they're enjoying what's happening to you. Do you get the sense that they would have been at all cowed if there would have been more
Absolutely
witnesses?
not. They literally said in there, they said, "Have you not learned? This is why we killed that lesbian bitch." You think they feel sorry about that at all? Using that sort of language?
This is the kind of violence that we have seen in so many different instances where it was so predictable what was going to happen in these cities as the Trump administration ratcheted up the fucking pressure. Ratcheted up the pressure. Put more pressure on these communities. Recruited more of these agents with lax standards and going out of their way to recruit people who were beholden to the president ideologically before anything else, without giving them proper training, without, in fact, probably going out of their way to train them in ways that are directly escalatory, to focus on producing the propaganda first and recruiting what is ostensibly a partisan paramilitary force for the president that can go around beating up people, threatening people. As of right now...
He's not a president, he's a dictator.
A dictator.
A tiny dictator.
When you, I imagine you're probably still feeling some hurt. I don't know if we got, you may have said it up top and it may just not have registered for me, but how long ago this happened?
We were taken at about 2:30, 3 p.m.
Okay, so within just the last few hours.
But there were people in the cell with us that were taken at 9 a.m. this morning.
In the cell with you?
And they have not been given a phone call.
So...
And they left. The intercom system is broken, and they left us there without telling anybody that there was detainees in the hallway. We couldn't use the restroom, we couldn't get water, we couldn't do anything because they left us there.
This is here at the Whipple Federal. So after they beat you, they put you, I assume, into their vehicles. Are they saying anything to you in the ride over here? What happens when you get to Whipple? Walk me through then those intervening hours.
So, well, I'm kind of cheeky, so I sang the Marine Corps anthem the entire ride over here at the top of my lungs. And the tiny guy who assaulted me pretended to conduct it until I switched it to a remix. And I said, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, I will fight my country's battle against Gestapo and Nazis. First to fight for right and freedom and to keep our honor good. I'm Cloud. Gestapo? That's the secret.
German police.
The SS.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why
Yep.
would you be fighting against them?
Shut up.
I'm serious.
So, all right, apologies for that interruption there. So you're singing, you're continuing to protest despite all of that force that you were met with, showing that you're going to keep demonstrating against this administration, continue your resistance in the ways that you can. You arrive here at the Whipple building, and then what?
And then they pulled me out of the car again. The tiny man that assaulted me stayed with me and assaulted me some more, shoving my head into the brick wall, kicking my legs out from under me. He wrenched my arm almost, when I was in handcuffs, almost over my head.
Sky, this is all so fresh for you still, I know. But have you given any consideration to trying to enact some justice for yourself in this moment, in maybe in the days and weeks to come, like trying to hold some of these agents accountable for what they've done?
I told the agent that assaulted me, I'll be at his Nuremberg trial.
Is that what we need here in the United States?
100%. I told him I would be at his trial, and that the revolution has never lost. You can't kill us all.
Describe to me what
Someone just came out of detainment.
They have been in there since 9 a.m. this morning, and they have not been given a phone call. It's been horrible for them. So
yeah, well, and I want to talk to them too, but Sky, I just want to give you like your kind of last 2 cents here, and then I want to step off to the side just to give you my card and stuff, so we can continue to follow up with you. But I want to end by going a little bit broader than just what happened to you. And what I always emphasize in like the reporting that we do is, it's easy. We present one case of cruelty and then another case of cruelty, and after a time it kind of can build up, but you have to, I keep telling people you have to recognize that it's not just your case. If it's happened to you, it's happened to others, and it's not just happening here in Minneapolis, it's happening in cities across this country. You start to talk about hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of cases of abuse in this country to try and make this country whole after the fact. You talked about trials. Is there anything else that you feel like you need to see to begin to feel like justice is being done, not just for you, but for the country as a whole?
I need the sheriff of Hennepin County, Dewana, to stop lying to my face and saying that you are on the side of the people. You are not. You stand there with a blank look on your face. You are a black African-American woman. These are your people. You are an elected sheriff.
And just to underscore what she's saying there, it's been the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office that's been providing a lot of the de facto security for ICE agents as they've been conducting these operations for the last many weeks, months here in the Twin Cities area, that when ICE agents are surrounded by counter-protesters who are demonstrating against an ICE operation, it is the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office that has come to clear the streets and allow the ICE agents to leave, including with the people that they have abducted. Sky, thank you very much for your time and for reliving with that for us.
The last thing that I want to say is that I took an oath. It's not over yet.
Thank you very much, Sky. I appreciate it. John, will you take this for just a moment?
Let me go see. JT, look for me over there.
You guys by chance find a black...
Oh, there was...
Yeah, what's up, brother? Yeah, that was me, the one who got me strapped with him. My hat came off. I don't know who took it, though.
They came back, they broke the glass, they took us, they arrested us, and that's when he said in the car that you guys gotta stop obstructing us, that's why that lesbian bitch is dead.
What?
And
What?
About Renee, good. And the two other agents in the car,
Asshole.
I mean, they didn't say anything. They didn't laugh, but they didn't say anything. They didn't call out their guy, and then they were laughing with him about shit after that. No, they did not hold each other accountable. Of course they didn't hold each other accountable.
Hey guys, people are coming out. You're going to want to move.
Federal agents are coming out now from the Whipple building. John and I are moving back here across the street, as are the demonstrators. See some of the demonstrators there standing with their hands raised in sign of non-violence. As a warning plays out over the loudspeakers here. John and I are putting on some of our safety equipment now because the appearance of these federal agents has usually also come with some sort of force, whether it be flashbangs or tear gas or pepper spray. You see the agents walking back a little ways here.
Brandon's still in there, but he was going to come out after me, and I want to... Can I give this to somebody?
I can take it. I don't know whose it is, but here's your things.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yep.
My name's JT. I'm a reporter. Would you mind if I interviewed you really quick? I'm with Status Coup.
Sure.
We just
I
interviewed
will
Sky.
find out.
Oh, sure. I do want to just make sure that I can see if my friend, who is up there with me,
do you want to
is
move
coming.
somewhere else? We can.
Or just like in a little bit better.
With anything left?
No, I wasn't charged with anything. Just a little bit, higher, so I can see if he's coming out.
Absolutely.
Somebody's microphone, put microphone, did you
All right. John. All right, so I'm staying here with, it's Patty, correct?
Yeah.
Patty, can you just spell that very quickly?
Yeah, Patty.
So you came out just after Sky, who we just interviewed. Can you describe what happened to you today?
Yeah, well, we were trying to defend our neighbors and our community, keep our community safe, and I said that we were obstructing their operation even though there were no cars. We were not in an active raid. There were no cars ahead of them. We were just behind them, and they said that we were obstructing. Before they arrested us, an agent came and sprayed pepper spray into the vent of our car, even though we had not done anything. We had not done anything. Nothing. And then they came back, broke the windows, took us out of the car, arrested us, and then the driver of the car, the same one that sprayed the pepper spray in, proceeded to say, you guys need to stop, obstructing us. That's why that lesbian bitch is dead. And they were talking about Renee Nicole Good. And I was speechless in the car. I didn't cry then, but I cried once I got in there, and I've been telling everybody in there that that's what happened. And then, we were held in there for 7 hours, went to the bathroom a few times, saw many people in there, many likely immigrants, and men and women. We heard people screaming, "Let us out! Let us out!" Heard crying, and also from the staff in there, just like this is just our everyday job. They're going about it and talking, having small talk with their coworkers, laughing. It's a really surreal and weird scene. And it was a very strange thing to be subject to. And I cannot comprehend that there's even more agents that are coming now. How can they think that is anything but an escalation? And how can they not know that that is only going to make things worse? But yeah.
Patty, was there anyone else in the vehicle besides you and Sky?
Yeah, Brandon.
Another, okay.
Yeah.
So the three of you are there.
Sky and I weren't in the same vehicle. That was another situation. That was another.
Got it. Okay.
We were in different locations.
Okay, got it. Just the association of you two being released at near the same time.
Yeah, Sky and I were in the same cell in there for a couple hours.
So, okay, and then you just walked us through your story. Thank you very much for that. In Sky's situation, she was talking about being having the window broken out in her car and being physically assaulted. Did you endure any sort of physical assault or pain from the agents?
I was lucky that I did not endure any physical assault. I was very careful to be as compliant as possible because I did not want to get brutalized. And sometimes you can be compliant and still get brutalized. So I feel lucky that I didn't.
Absolutely. So, and we're glad that you're okay. What do you feel like the message that the Trump administration or that these agents were trying to send to you was by detaining you, by holding you inside the Whipple building?
That you should be afraid. That we have the power and that we can do whatever we want to do, that we can take your freedom away if you try to get in the way of our kidnapping operation, But what they don't realize is that this just makes me and others even more committed to the cause. because we see how unjust it is throughout, like on the outside and on the inside. Like, what happened to me is further radicalizing me. It's further radicalizing me. If you want to stop radicalizing people, then stop fucking locking people away from trying to protect their fucking neighbors. How about that?
Or stop killing people who live here in the
And
Minneapolis
stop killing
area.
people in my neighborhood. Thank you.
It seems like
Sorry,
you're dealing with a lot of emotion. You've had stressful doesn't even begin to, I think, describe. I don't think the English language has the words to accurately describe the kind of day that you've endured. But what are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling, just walking out and seeing everyone here made me feel so happy. I was like, I'm with my people. My people are here. You know, I feel supported. I feel committed to the cause as ever. Feel ready to go back and keep protecting my neighbors. I do want to get a little bit of sleep, and I'm excited to see my cats.
I'm going to let you do that, especially since we're hearing final warnings here that it seems like there might be more action. John, you could show that scene there.
We're hearing flashbangs go off. Hearing flashbangs go off. Tear gas has been deployed here outside of the Whitnall Federal Building. Tear gas filling the streets here as the agents move forward, firing noisemakers, firing tear gas. I heard the telltale sign of the pepper ball guns going off. I got hit with something. My leg is hurting. Yeah. Where at? Where'd you get hit, John? My leg. My leg? Here, hang on. It's here. You can't see it. It's here. All right. You see how abruptly they deployed that force, how fast it happens. They say, this is your final warning. And as soon as they finish saying, this is your final warning, boom, it immediately happens.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm worried about you.
Yeah, I got hit with one of the flashbangs.
John's telling me here that he thinks he got physically struck by one of the flashbang grenades that the agents deployed.
If you guys can answer me in this.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have something really important to say.
Yeah.
First of all, fuck ICE. Take their rights too. Somebody needs to take their rights too. I'm 16. I'm the daughter of Nina Long, a military vet in the Navy. And I don't fuck with this shit at all. She knows that, and we live over there by the barracks. I don't fuck with this shit. The only thing ICE is doing is ruining Minnesota. And this is sad to see because I have family. I have family that are getting deported constantly. And this is affecting me. This is affecting going to school because the kid that was took during the Target raid, I knew him. My friends knew him. And this is so disappointing to see. This is so disappointing to see. So I will stand up for it because never let journalism die. Fucking gas.
Yeah. Agents there firing more pepper balls. I was struck twice there, John. Got shot with 2 pepper balls myself. The protesters had gone back out into the streets. To challenge the...
Hey, come back.
Yeah, come here. First of all, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah. They threw it right at my fucking foot. They don't care if they're hurting people. They do not care if they're hurting people because their only agenda is to steal people. It's just to steal people and keep them detained. It doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen. I've been here for 16 years of my life, and they'd probably take me because of the color of my skin. They're not judging you based off your citizenship. They're judging you off of accents, anything that doesn't justify their political game.
What do you feel like the message is that the Trump administration or that these agents are sending to you right now?
I feel like what they're sending to me is that they don't care. They're mocking us. They're treating us like we're below human, like we're dirt under their boot. And it's disgusting to see because they're treating their own people like this. There's Asian officers in there. There's Hispanic officers in there. And it's sad to see because it's just showing the levels of corruption that is here in Minnesota still.
What leadership do you want to see from your elected leaders right now in standing up against all of this violence that's being meted out against you, against everyone you're standing here beside, against the communities that surround us that you're here to stand up for? What should your leaders be doing? What message do you want to send to your leaders right now?
The leaders that should be standing up for us right now, you need to enforce violence against them because that's the only way they're going to push out and learn. Because they're committing violence against your citizens. Maybe it could be even your children one day. And you know what you're doing? You're letting them know it's okay. By not being here right now, by not standing up for the citizens of Minnesota, you're letting them know it's okay. And they're getting away with this because they're committing violence. At this moment, they're committing violence against us. I hope you know this is going to affect you too.
And I don't know if you dropped it, but I did not catch your first name when we started talking.
My name is Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, could you spell that for us really quick?
Eiliyah.
So Aaliyah, I think you referenced that you're 16?
Yes.
16. It's a young age to be dealing with all this. I know when I was 16, this was about the furthest thing from my mind. How do you feel about the world that's being left to you or the country that's being left to you and left to your friends and maybe your family who's around your same age? How do you feel about the future that lies in front of you?
I feel like our future, this political and the economic state of the world was not built for us. It wasn't built for us because it's constantly being ruined by things like this. When I was around 8 years old, I was protesting the shooting of Philando Castile with my mother. And now I'm 16 and I'm protesting here against ICE because this is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels, against so many marginalized communities. And I'm going to say this was not built for us. This future was not built for us.
16 years old, has already been protesting state violence for years. Do you feel like you have really gotten to live a childhood at all?
No, I don't believe so because my childhood has been advocating. It's just been advocating for stuff like this. My mother and me, we feed the homeless. She had a nonprofit organization just for that because Minnesota was not set up for us. It's not set up for black people, and it is sad to see. It's not set up for Hispanic people either. And to see how far we've come in the last 4 months is disappointing, and this is off of one man's decision to destroy an entire state for his gain, He's destroying what he's supposed to be protecting for his gain. This is not the USA. This was never the USA. And I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing that up front and close. After having the violence acted upon against me, I'm seeing it physically and emotionally. And it is sad to see. This is arbitrary.
Aaliyah, thank you very much for your time. I just want to be sure that I'm not taking up any more of yours because I think at this time, even though the agents have moved back, I think they've shown that they're willing to use enough force that I want to be sure that you're able to keep your head on a swivel if you're out here. So thank you very much for talking to us. I appreciate it.
I will be out here for the time being.
Yeah, thank you, Ilya. Appreciate it. I mean, what do you even say after that?
Speak a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah, what's up, man?
On behalf of Somalis and the immigrants that came here.
Yeah. What's your name?
My name? Abbas, ABAS.
Thank you.
So I'm here for, in short, to highlight the hypocrisy that's going on. They're not here to stop immigration or anything. Most of this is theater. If they were against fraud, Trump would not have pardoned over 20 convicted criminals. You know, from Joey Blasio in Illinois, for Joe Santos to Rudy Giuliani to Philip Esformas, who, by the way, defrauded the American government for more than $1.2 billion. You know what I mean? And that's more than any Somali. If all the Somalis came together, we would not be able to, defraud the government of that. But it just shows that government is corrupt from the top. They're here to instill their tyranny and their fascist ideals. You know what I mean? So I was following the statistics they're bringing out for immigration, so on and so forth, which was produced by the Center for Immigration Studies, the CIS, and they are a right-wing, white supremacist, Nazi-supporting organization that skew the numbers, that have been sued by multiple organizations for lying, and people like Stephen Miller are using those fake studies and fake numbers to enforce legislation, to pass legislation. So you see that President Obama, for example, kicked out more than X million immigrants in his tenure. In his 8 years he was in office, which is much more than Trump is trying to do right now, you know. The way I see it is that there's a lot of theory going on. They're taking fake wins and trying to act like they're doing something. So when Trump says that he won Minnesota 3 times and he lost all 3 times, right? And his people and his supporters just believe that and follow it. It shows their level of understanding, IQ, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So all we're doing here is, you know, using our First Amendment right granted to us by speaking the truth. But you see who the right-wing people in the government are associating with. They're associating with frauds such as Nick Sorter and Cam Higbee and Edward Jacob Blaine and so on and so forth, who were convicted criminals. You know what I mean? So if you're really against fraud, are you really against fraud, or are you just against immigrants? Are you just against Muslims? Are you against, you know, whoever? So the way I see it and the way we see it is that they're just skewing the numbers, saying whatever they want, and trying to see how far things can go. So that's why we're here today. When you have somebody that's being paid by the right-wing fascist organizations, like, for example, that I'm forgetting his name, Jake, what was his name? Jaden Scott. He was standing next to ICE officers, and he's being protected, and he's yelling that we executed one of you guys. You know what I mean? So
just to give context to our audience, he's referencing some of the right-wing provocateurs who have been out here at the protests.
Talking about some of the right-wing provocateurs who have been out here at these protests in the past.
And
some of the protection that they've been given by some of these agents who have been standing out here.
Absolutely. So they're saying that the Democrats, or I'm not a Republican or Democrat, you know what I mean? But being somebody in the middle, watching both sides, and that's trying to be non-biased, you see the hypocrisy, you know what I mean? So when you have somebody that's saying we execute you and we want to kill and this and that, and Elon Musk is retweeting stuff, you know what I mean? Which I find hilarious. They're against immigration, but they have an African immigrant from South Africa. They don't know. He's just white, but he's from South Africa. When they were promoting the immigration stuff, and they started last year, they appointed him as as Doge, the head of Doge, and so on and so forth, to file corruption, to find corruption, so on and so forth. What's funny? When he had the resources of the United States government behind him, he did not find any fraud in the Somali community, and so on and so forth, right? But all of a sudden now, cases that were reported by local journalists, people who actually went to journalist schools and graduated with degrees, they've been breaking the news and so on and so forth. Over 60, 70, 80 people were indicted and are in prison and they're serving time. Unfortunately for them, they don't have Trump to pardon them because he doesn't fit their agenda and what he's trying to push. So on top of that, what you see is when you see Elon Musk, who has nothing to do with America, who has no skin in the game, who is retweeting right wing, this and that, and inciting violence, we know who the fascists, we know who the people who are calling for violence are. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
Just because you haven't said it explicitly so far, are you yourself Somali or
I am
Somali?
I'm Somali. I was born here. I was raised here. We all work here. We went to school here. Graduated. We all pay our taxes. My biggest crime is having parking tickets. You know what I mean? So and that's about it. But for them, it doesn't matter. You could be the model citizen and have everything going for you, but that's not enough. You know, so when you have Stephen Miller, who himself was an immigrant, whose own uncle, his father's brother, and his own cousin were writing articles against them and saying, if the same policy Stephen Miller is trying to implement were implemented back in 1903 or 1904 when his grandfather came, he would not have been in this country and he would have died in Nazi Germany. You know what I mean? So you see the hypocrisy, you see what they're trying to push and what they're trying to do. So when you see American woman, innocent mother of kids, a soccer mom who's trying to fight for her people, trying to do the right thing, the American thing, being executed in broad daylight, and then the government comes out, Kristi Noem, and they all come out, and without investigation, without due diligence, without looking at anything. What's funny is the only person that was a little bit logical and said, you know what, we have to wait for the investigation, was the border czar, Tom Homan. Yeah, Tom Homan. He was the only person that said, hey, you know what, let's wait until all the facts and stuff come out, which is a responsible thing to do. So when they say fraud, I laugh because Kristi Noem, who's the leader of the DHS, right? Her husband was granted a $220 million contract. You know what I mean? And
just to underscore what he's saying there, give context. Kristi Noem, being in charge of DHS, which means she has oversight of ICE, which his budget has been ballooned in the last over the last year. A lot of the advertising and other budgets for DHS reporting, especially from ProPublica, has shown that a lot of that money is now going towards people that Kristi Noem knows and is close to, or her husband is close to.
Correct. And so that's blatant. But for them, they're doing, the American thing. They're doing the right thing, and so on and so forth. They're lining their pockets. They're taking money away from it's hilarious when they try to not make it obvious, but it's obvious. When they stop funding to all the blue governors in all the blue states, such as Oregon, such as Minnesota. What did Tim Walz do? Sure, he was fighting against fraud and so on and so forth. Could he have done a better job, been more aggressive? Sure, no problem. But the fact that he went against Trump, called him a weirdo, was on a ticket with Kamala Harris, now it's just, okay, we're going to stop all funding to all child cares and all children. So it's not an attack on America. If you don't bend the knee, if you don't do what Trump wants, then you are on the chopping block. You know what I mean?
You were just making the point there about the fraud committed within the Trump administration. You've also got the personal enrichment of the president and his family through his own leadership, funneling money directly into his pocket, sometimes from foreign sources, sometimes from domestic. But when you see the president and his hangers-on, his sycophants, directly profiting off of the American government right now, and then he turns around and calls the Somali community here in Minnesota, accuses them like blanket of just like they're all fraudsters and truly racist language, even grading on a curve for him. When you see that, what's the feelings that come up inside you?
For me, I just see first of all, it's enraging, obviously, but when you kind of zoom out and see the bigger game, right? The United States president getting a airplane from the government of Qatar, and not for governmental usage. This is not going to be for the next president. This is for personal use, right? And it's going to cost $400 million to retrofit it and to make it fit for him, for himself. When you see his son, Jared Kushner, and what the contracts he's making in the Middle East and other countries, so on and so forth, benefiting his family and his own, you see Don Jr. And the money he's making, and the contracts he's signing, so on and so forth. Why would the president pardon and grant clemency to the father of Jared Kushner, Charles Kushner? So it's like, if you look this up, this is like on the front page, it's blatant, it's in the headlines, but for them, they don't care about the truth. So when the president can come out straight up and say, I won Minnesota 3 times, what else can we take from him that's, that's true and so on and so forth? And he has a repeated line of lying. So there's around, they say, 260,000 Somalis in all of the U.S. and about 80,000 in Minnesota. So majority of them are youth. A majority of them are kids, you know what I mean, that were born here, that work here, and so on and so forth. I can happily say right now that I'm against all fraud. Anybody that commits fraud should be punished. But they can't say that because they would be the first people to be convicted. When the president has 34 felony counts on him, charges against him, that shows the type of government that's being led, so on and so forth. And the last thing I'll probably add is that their playbook is very simple. They are manufacturing consent. In the sense that anytime they want to move against somebody, what do? They vilify them in the media, make lies about them, so on and so forth. They did this with all the wars, from Vietnam to the Iraq and Afghan war, so on and so forth. Now people are coming out saying, the Afghan war, there's no weapons of mass destruction, it was a waste of lives, so on and so forth. We lost our sons and daughters in the countless war that did not benefit the American people. It benefited the defense contractors and the deep state. So what I find hilarious is when a random 23-year-old kid who is a young Mormon kid from Utah who's doing YouTube videos and prank videos, and all of a sudden becomes a LDS, church boy. He's doing good things, He's calling to his religion. All of a sudden, then 2 years he has a hiatus.
Talking about Nick Shirley here.
Yeah, I'm talking about Nick Shirley. So he comes out of nowhere this year, and the first video he does is he's doing a birthright trip in Israel, interviewing the former mayor of Gaza, and so on and so forth. And next major thing he's doing is he comes to Minnesota, and he, for the first time ever, uncovers the fraud happening in the Somali community when people who did commit fraud were being punished and being punished and have been prosecuted and so on and so forth. What's funny from that, he posted that video, then you have the Vice President of the United States of America, J.D. Vance, retweeting him saying that he deserves a Pulitzer Award. You know what I mean? Doesn't graduate, doesn't have any degree, but he's pushing that. You see Elon Musk retweeting that. You see the FBI Director, CashApp, retweeting it. Then it's clear. Yeah, it's clear what they want. And what I find funny is that the study they used to say Somalis are 89% on welfare were all lies, right? And when was that study written? December 10, 2025. And again, it was produced by who? The CIS. The same CIS that Stephen Miller was using in the first term of Trump in 2017 to pass laws. And they didn't want to use the laws, their studies to push legislation at that time because it was too radical. Even for the right-wingers, it was too radical for them. So when you see the clear propaganda, the clear lies, we saw a woman that was trying to escape, that was scared for her life, being shot and executed 3 times, right? And then they say that he was being run over. It's clear. So for us, we're here to exercise our right, to push that message, to change the narrative, and to make the record straight. I'm against all fraud. Is Trump against all fraud? He's not. Is J.D. Vance and these right-wingers against all fraud? No, they're not. So in short, all I'm saying is that these people and what they stand for is just for themselves to line their pocket. When you have people like, and I'll end here, when you have people like, DeSantis in Florida, who's flying out to write anti-Semitism laws in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and passing. And right now, you can burn the American flag, and you can insult the government, in the government. You can criticize them, but if you do that in Florida, you do that against another foreign country like Israel, you get punished, right? So, are they really America first? I don't think so. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, we've covered a lot
here. No problem.
I really wanted to thank you for your time.
Absolutely, thank you guys so
much.
But
before I let you go, I wanted to say, is there anything else you wanted to say while you had the platform?
I mean, all this didn't come out, all the fraud that they're committing, defrauding, so on and so forth. So I just urge the American people to read, to look at the different news sources and so on and so forth. This is not like a us against you type thing. They want to divide us. They're the one, we're supposed to be one nation under God, indivisible. And what they're doing is dividing. They're causing division. They're the ones that are pushing the hate speech and so on and so forth. And they're a gang. Essentially, they're a gang that have their own codes, they have their own laws, and if you're either with them or against them, like Bush back in the day, you're either with us or you're against us, and that's how they're treating it. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you guys for your work.
Thank you. When you see it, so many impassioned voices. just want to flip around and show that the crowd has thinned out quite a bit here since that deployment of force.
You want some water, man?
No, I'm.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You've been doing some good work. I follow you online. John knows you. Next time, yeah, buy you dinner too. Or here, okay?
All right, what's your name?
George. Yeah. Okay.
You lost something.
Oh.
I was just flipping around here to show how the crowd here has really thinned out. The energy has come down since that deployment of force by the Trump administration. All those tear gas, flashbangs, firing of pepper balls. And again, I do not want to minimize that use of force. I myself have become so inured to it because it has become so commonplace. What the Trump administration is doing in places like this, where people have the courage to stand up against a federal government that has billions of dollars at its disposal, that has thousands of agents here in the Twin Cities. These people are coming out and demanding and standing up and saying, get out, ICE out. They are chanting it in the streets by the thousands, by the tens of thousands. If you followed our coverage yesterday of the protest movement that was out here, we our continued presence here on the ground is only possible thanks to our supporters. If you are one of our sustaining members, thank you so much. If you're not yet, I think John and I are really earning it tonight. If you can, go to StatusCoup.com/join. It's as low as $5 a month to keep John and I here on the ground, to help us afford the hotel rooms and the food that we need, to help us keep our camera equipment running, to help with so much, to help afford gas as we chase around ICE agents here around the city. And it's only through that sustaining memberships that we as an organization are sustained. It's that generosity from individuals. That's how you know that what I'm showing you, that what John is showing you from behind the camera is truly an accurate representation of what is happening out here, because we're not beholden to any corporate interest. There's no corporate interest, there's no partisan interest that is leaning on us, or that we have to be conscious of, or that we have to care about their opinions about what we show on camera, the way that so much other corporate media in this country does. I know that because I worked in corporate local news for a time, and that little question in the back of your head, or the little comments that be made from management about which story gets covered and when, you just know we're going to have to move out of the car's trying to get through here, so we're just moving off to the side. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Please tell us who you're with.
So we are just starting the Audible project. The main point is that we want...
The what project?
Audible. AUDIBLE project. So I'll make sure... I appreciate, first of all, thank you guys for your services. I appreciate you guys being independent, being non-biased, and at least trying to get out the real news, you know what I mean? You guys are not backed by corporate funding, so I'm going to make sure once I get home and my fingers are a little bit warmer to support you guys, for your guys' work and so on and so forth. So... the Audible project, in short, the goal that we have is to try to, similar to you guys, try to get the truth out, to counter these lies. A lot of people are just scared, and they don't know that you are able to fight back with knowledge and power. You know what I mean? The knowledge you have, everything that, the same way right now, I was laughing because I wanted to bring some paper and troll Nick Shirley because their whole spiel is, I have printed paper and I have all the fraud in his hand, you know? So, in short, the Audible project, we'll make sure to shout out you guys and so on and so forth. But if you guys can support us, we'd appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
I'll look you guys up as soon as we get back, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna draw things to a close here, but again, if you've become a member, with all the craziness that's been happening out here, and usually I'm constantly, trying to report on what's happening. I don't keep an eye on our chats, though I do go back and watch through them to see what people said after the fact. So all of your kind words are much appreciated. And any support you've given in terms of super chats or becoming a member, we've had such an outpouring of support over the last few days. We haven't even been able to really keep up with it in the way that we should. But know that if you're supporting the work that we're doing here on the ground in the Twin Cities, we greatly appreciate it. We cannot tell you, I mean, really, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot begin to tell you what it means to us that so many people want to support the project that we are undertaking here, the type of news movement that we have been building here at Status Coup. We are starting to the protests are starting to thin out here, so I'm going to call it a night here, but thank you all so much. I want to thank all of you for watching. Thank all of you who are our sustaining members. Thank our partners, our Status Coup's partners in this reporting project out here at MeidasTouch, the whole MeidasTouch network. Thank you all to that team as well. That you guys have given us the platform to lift up our journalism and helping support the journalism that we're doing on the ground here. And of course, big shout out to all of my Status Coup teammates, not only John Farina, the fearless cameraman behind everything. If you think I look good on camera, it's only because of John's doing. I want to thank our boss Jordan Sheridan, who gives us so much editorial direction. I want to thank our producers, Michelle and Colin, for all of their excellent support work. This stream would not be possible without Colin manning the computer back home and staying up for hours with us and following everything that we're doing here. So on behalf of all of us from Status Coup, I'm JT Siskowski here just outside of Minneapolis, outside of the Whipple Federal Building. We'll be continuing to report here from on the ground in the Twin Cities. Get subscribed, and good night.